Yeah, guys, good morning. I just spoke with President Trump for about 20 minutes, and he told me if Iran does not sign this deal, the whole country is getting blown up. He went on to say that bridges and power plants will be targeted if Iran does not sign this agreement. The president telling me that U.S. Special Envoys Jared Kushner and Steve Witkoff are heading to Islamabad, Pakistan for meetings on Tuesday, possibly into Wednesday, to try and get this agreement across the finish line. The president telling Fox News this is a very simple deal, but this is the last chance for the Iranians. The president very clear in our conversation that he is not making the same mistake that President Obama made, giving cash to the Iranians and allowing them to continue a nuclear program. The deal on the table is to reopen the Strait of Hormuz to ensure that the Iranians do not have this highly enriched uranium that is buried deep underground after Operation Midnight Hammer last summer. And again, the president telling Fox News that the entire country will be blown up. Bridges and power plants will be targeted if the Iranians do not sign this agreement. This is a significant development because we are in this less than 72-hour window before the ceasefire between the United States and Iran expires. And the president has given the Iranians an opportunity for an off-ramp, an olive branch he is extending to the Iranian regime to avoid this region going back into war. And the president said the United States military is prepared. He said the U.S. has massive amounts of ammunition, even better munitions than they had in the opening days of Operation Epic Fury, to use against the Iranian regime, to target a variety of different positions across their country if they are not willing to make this good faith deal. And again, he tells Fox News that his special envoys are headed to the Middle East, and they are going to try and get this deal across the finish line. But this is in the hands of the Iranians, if they are willing to make a good faith agreement. And if they are not, the president has indicated there will be significant strikes against the Iranian regime in response if this diplomatic effort does not succeed. Guys?
Trey, in your conversation with the president, it hasn't been talked much about lately, but there has been focus on Karg Island because of its strategic proximity to 90% of the crude oil goes through there. Did the president raise, I know he's talked to you about bridges and power plants, but what about the oil infrastructure?
The president talked about the Strait of Hormuz and these violations of the ceasefire that were conducted by the Iranians yesterday. President Trump telling me about how they're using these small vessels to fire on ships in the Strait of Hormuz, but they're just using small ammunition. And despite the fact that they're not doing much damage, it's an indication that they are violating the ceasefire. And then the question is, well, why are they not doing much damage? And that is because more than 150 Iranian vessels are currently at the bottom of the sea. During Operation Epic Fury, the United States hammered the Iranian Navy, and they had prepared for a possible confrontation with the United States, but not enough, because the U.S. was so successful in these strikes that much of the Navy vessels the Iranians had prepared were not able to be used. And that is the reason that they have to use these smaller vessels to threaten international shipping lanes. And again, this speaks to the success of Operation Epic Fury and just the inability of the Iranian regime to even respond and to violate the ceasefire in this manner. And so that is one of the key pillars of this broader agreement that President Trump is demanding the Iranian regime sign. They are going to keep open the Strait of Hormuz. They are going to release that highly enriched uranium that is buried deep underground in the aftermath of those U.S. strikes last summer. And they're going to stop threatening U.S. forces across the region, the president tells me, or the Iranians are going to pay a heavy price. And that price is going to come at their power plants, their bridges, and the remaining infrastructure belonging to the Iranian regime. The president said right now there is a divide between the hardliners and the more moderates within the Iranian political leadership that remains. Remember, in the opening strikes of Operation Epic Fury, the United States and Israel took out the command structure of the Iranian regime. Iran's supreme leader, the Ayatollah Khamenei, was taken out in an airstrike along with his top advisors. The Iranians were in disarray in these moments after Operation Epic Fury began because they were hit even harder than anyone in the region believed they were going to be hit. And again, this speaks to the inability of the Iranians to not only defend their top leaders, but also defend their military structure. When we think about the threat Iran posed before Operation Epic Fury began, they were basically trying to get a nuclear weapon. They told negotiators they had enough highly enriched uranium for 11 nuclear bombs. And this was an indication to President Trump something had to be done to stop this regime from obtaining a nuclear weapon. But remember, you have this threat from the Iranians that also includes ballistic missiles and drones. And as part of Operation Epic Fury, President Trump ordered strikes against the production facilities of the Iranian regime, hammering their ballistic missile production centers and the drone centers that were used to target U.S. forces and allies across the Middle East. And now President Trump tells me that bridges and power plants are back on the target list for the United States. And if Iran does not sign this agreement in Islamabad this coming week, the president will order strikes, he tells me, against power plants and bridges inside of Iran. This will be a major escalation. But the president told me, and he is expected, we also learned in that conversation, to release basically a letter today to the Iranians with this tough talk, letting them know what is at risk for their regime if they do not make a good faith agreement. The president told me this tough talk is the only thing the Iranians understand. They don't understand the traditional diplomacy and dialogue of the region. They understand firepower, the firepower that belongs to the United States military. And President Trump again told me they have massive amounts of ammunition prepared. If the Iranians are not willing to make that good faith agreement, they are going to hammer the regime, targeting those bridges, power plants, and what is left of the IRGC military infrastructure. Guys?
Trey, you were on our show in an earlier hour before this phone call with the president, and you and I discussed this regime. You say that there's a faction, perhaps a more moderate versus a more radical wing of this regime. We don't know which one is in charge. Maybe you do. Maybe you can let us know. But if the more radical wing is in charge, per our discussion earlier, then that means they're crazy. And that means that this letter and this escalation may not have the results that we want because they don't care. They're just like, fine, let it all go. This is existential. If, we're going to lose, so let's all just die and go to heaven, I guess, or hell. So did you discuss that with the president in terms of the mental state and the outcomes that the mullahs and the radical wing want?
Yes, and I can tell you, having talked to the president multiple times throughout this war and prior to this conflict, the president understands exactly who he's dealing with here. These are not traditional negotiators on the other side of the table. This is not a traditional regime. Even on our call today, President Trump brought up the protesters who were slaughtered in the streets of their country earlier this year. And the president multiple times said he would be there for them. And he targeted, actually, during Operation Epic Fury, many of the besieged force commanders and those responsible for the crackdown against Iranian demonstrators who were peacefully protesting in the streets of their country. But again, I think the fact the president continues to bring this up, he understands two things. He understands the Iranian population, more than 90 million people, and many of them are quietly supporting what President Trump is doing, pressuring a repressive regime that spent 47 years cracking down on their own people. But he also understands the negotiators, and he understands the break in who's actually calling the shots here. And it's a great question because even the Iranians are not clear on who is calling the shots. And while you have this divide between the hardliners and the more moderates, even the Iranians can't agree on their own position. We heard Iran's foreign minister late last week saying the Strait of Hormuz is open, and then IRGC commanders saying it's closed, and then yesterday firing on these vessels trying to pass through the Strait of Hormuz. And again, this speaks to the successful U.S. strikes against the regime and the command structure of the IRGC. But as it relates to who is at the negotiating table now, the takeaways that I had from this 20-minute call with President Trump were quite clear. It doesn't matter to President Trump who is calling the shots in Iran right now. What matters is that they signed this agreement. And the president said if they do not sign the agreement, he is going to target Iranian power plants and bridges. He is going to increase the strikes against the IRGC and go after the core that remains within Iran. Because he told me this is a very simple agreement. It could be done in 10 minutes. They know what is on the table. All they have to do is sign the dotted line. And so far, they've been unwilling to do so. And that is why President Trump told me that on Tuesday, U.S. Special Envoys Jared Kushner and Steve Witkoff are headed back to the Middle East to try and get this deal across the finish line. And remember what we are looking at here. Now we understand. After this conversation with President Trump, I can tell you very clearly, we are looking at option A or option B. Option A is that the Iranians come to the table on Tuesday and they sign a good faith agreement that never allows them to have a nuclear weapon, that makes sure they give up their enriched uranium, and ensures that they open the Strait of Hormuz. Option B is that their power plants and bridges are going to be destroyed by the U.S. military, the strongest military in the world. And so they have a decision to make. And the president was very clear just before we got off the call. He told me Iran has a decision to make. And the decision is either going to be an off-ramp that saves the lives of the leadership and the infrastructure of the country, or the alternative. And the president told me he is prepared for both options. And again, he is sending his negotiating team for one final effort to try and get this deal across the finish line. But the president was very clear. He told me if they do not sign this deal, the whole country is going to get blown up.
Trey, it's Lucas. Great reporting. Vice President Vance led the negotiations last weekend in Islamabad. He is not going on this trip to Islamabad. Why do you think that is?
It's a great point, and I do want to just read something to you right here. As we are talking, the president has now posted on Truth Social about exactly what he told me during that conversation. He says, in part, Iran decided to fire bullets yesterday in the Strait of Hormuz, a total violation of our ceasefire agreement. Many of them were aimed at a French ship and a freighter from the United Kingdom. The president goes on to say, that wasn't nice, was it? My representatives are going to Islamabad, Pakistan, confirming what he told me on the phone earlier. They will be there tomorrow evening for negotiations. Iran recently announced that they were closing the strait, which is strange because our blockade has already closed it. The president goes on to say in his post, they're helping us without knowing. And they are the ones that lose with the closed passage, $500 million a day. Now, it's a very long post on Truth Social, and we'll pull it up here. But the president later says, no more Mr. Nice Guy. They will come down fast. He's talking about the bridges and power plants. And again, that is what I gathered from my conversation with the president, that he is not playing games here. He is not bluffing. He is going to hammer the Iranian regime if they do not sign on the dotted line. The choice is theirs in the days ahead.
Can you respond to, I know the Truth Social came out and we didn't get an answer to the question of why you think J.D. Vance is not included in this negotiation team?
The short answer is we understand that the vice president is still directly involved in these conversations and consultations. The president just yesterday at the White House held a situational assessment in the Situation Room, gathering top cabinet officials, whether it was the Joint Chiefs Chairman, the Secretary of War, Pete Hegseth, the vice president, and others. And we understand that U.S. Special Envoy Steve Witkoff was involved as well in that conversation. And so this is a full court press by the Trump administration. A variety of officials are involved at many different levels. The United States is preparing not just on the diplomatic front, but also on the military front. And as the president has made clear on Truth Social and in our call earlier today, he is prepared for a variety of outcomes. But we are looking at two outcomes here, either a diplomatic solution or military action.
Well, wow. Seems like there's a lot going on, because there is a lot going on. In fact, it's moving so quickly and things are happening so voluminously. J.D. Vance is now back on, excuse me, as a part of the negotiation team. So he'll be going to Islamabad to negotiate. Whatever these negotiations are going to end up, I have no idea. I have no idea what's going to happen. As of right now, it's about 2:45 or so in the morning in Tehran. We don't know if things are going to happen tonight, but I think we're going to look at things happening very soon. And I say this because they already happened. They've already happened. I'm going to show you some stuff. I hope the censors don't get mad here in a second, because all HELL hockey sticks is breaking loose. And it's happening so fast. And of course, as you know, on the flip side, what's happening, immediately the emotion starts tugging on the stock futures. And what do you think is happening? Yep, oil goes right back up. Oil is spiking today. It's up about, I don't know, $4 or $5 from where it was on Friday. And of course, that means when that does this, gold and silver go that way. And then, of course, the stock market is probably going to poop the bed tomorrow. So all kinds of things happening. And the more you look at this stuff and more you position yourself, you understand how volatile this is and how people are basically gaming the system. I really think at this point that somebody is pulling the strings in Iran. It's obvious that there's some sort of civil war happening. It's obvious that the hardliners, the mullahs, the absolute ideologues don't want to do anything that's good. The people negotiating in the, whatever their government is, they're trying to, get to some level of agreement, but the hardliners won't. Now, it's very interesting. Somebody sent me something today. His name is John. Do I have it? Where is what John sent me? I thought I had it. Okay. I don't know if I can show it because I've had a little glitch with the computer. However, did you know that the problem that we're really having is what is in the actual Iranian constitution? The Iranian constitution actually says what many of us probably have had some idea. Let me just give you a line from the Iranian constitution. The Constitution will strive with other Islamic and popular movements to prepare the way for the formation of a single world community, globalism. In accordance with the Quranic verse, this is your community, a single community. I am your Lord, so worship me, and to assure the continuation of the struggle for the liberation of all deprived and oppressed peoples in the world. The Constitution was framed with, quote, all the hope that the century will witness the establishment of a universal holy government and the downfall of all others. When your Constitution, when the basic core of your country says basically to conquer and do away with all others who don't believe what you believe, how can you possibly negotiate with these people? They're obviously big country, a lot of people who don't believe that, but the ones who are in control, they absolutely believe that. We need to have Sharia law across the world. Everybody needs to convert, and that's it. You don't like it? Too bad, we'll kill you. But you must convert to Islam. There is no other choice. Our Constitution, meaning their Constitution, mandates that that's what they fight for. Not my words. Go look it up. Do a search on the Iranian Constitution and see what the actual words say. So if you understand the person sitting across from you, their entire ideology is to kill you. You're an infidel. You're the great Satan. You're a mongrel. You eat bacon. Your women walk around like, hoods. You need to cover them all up. You need to submit. How do you negotiate with people who live in caves like this? And it's amazing, and as I'm going to show you, it's amazing that our media is supporting a country that would basically do away with them. Somebody somewhere is pulling all these strings against America, against Trump, and they've somehow gotten these people to supplicate, or rather prostitute themselves into backing Iran. With full knowledge, if Iran were to take power and do what they want across the world, every single one of them would be out of a job or dead. Especially, the fluffy ones. And none of the women, Margaret Brennan, all you ladies, Kristen Welker, nope, you're gone too. So how can you possibly be advocating for Iran? How can you possibly be looking people in America in the face and saying that America is bad? Trump has lost his mind. He's lost his faculties. What are we going to do? Why are you being so un-American? Well, what I'm going to show you in a little while is going to prove to you it's been that way for quite some time. They've been advocating for Iran for probably close to a decade. You probably don't remember. Maybe you do. But now everybody, it seems, in the media who's anti-American understands this could be the last chance. President Trump, he came out today and said, hey, we told you, do not put a boat out there. No, you can't declare it closed. We're the ones who closed it. I told you that last night. I told you there was no Navy boat out there doing anything in the Strait of Hormuz. It's a couple guys on some little dinghies taking shots. They have a suicide mentality because their constitution tells them die for this. So when President Trump says, I'm going to blow up the bridges, I'm going to blow up this, blow up that, I'm going to blow you to hell, we don't have a choice. And everybody who thinks there's these different options, no, these roaches, and I mean that sincerely, will go right back to doing whatever they can do. Everybody knows. There's nobody who doesn't know that they are the #1 sponsor of terror across the world. So why at this point do people not want to stomp them out? I don't get it. I have no idea why that is. I know if I saw a roach or a rodent or something, I want to exterminate it. I don't want to put it in an aquarium or something and treat it like I want to keep it. I don't think enough people understand sitting across from these people. You're sitting across from the devil. Well, then let me rephrase that. We don't know who they're sitting across from. It seems like the people that they're negotiating with have absolutely no control over the nuts. And the nuts are the ones we have to eliminate. Those are as harsh as that sounds. I know some people, I saw the poll I put up in the chat. I don't know if they're trolls or what, but 92% said take them out. 8% people said keep negotiating. 8% of people here in this chat are like, please keep talking to them. So I asked you 8%, why? When you know their constitution says kill them all, when you know their constitution says it's got to be Sharia law or nothing, when you know this, that they'll throw people of alternative lifestyles off of buildings, what is there to negotiate? There will not be any peace. How do you know it? Well, I've read history books. You should have read history books. This is 47, probably longer, closer to 100 years, where those nuts over there have been nuts. They have not changed. They will not change. They are bred for this. So I would love anybody to tell me what it is you hope to negotiate. Worst case scenario, these guys get something in return and we don't take them out. What do you think they're going to do? I mean, it's pretty simple. What's the alternative from us taking them out? Okay, we're not over there. We're not spending money dropping bombs. We're back here. It's none of our business. They're not threatening us, you say. What do you think they're going to do? By the way, they did say they're going to threaten us now. Now they say they're going to respond in the big bravado that they always do. How? Sleeper cells? Well, it's been, 6 weeks? Knock on wood, we haven't seen much of a sleeper cell type activity. Have we gutted that as well? I don't know. Don't want to feel complacent whatsoever. There may be some sleeper cells, in there somewhere that might strike. Who knows? But I do know if we don't take them out, there will be a whole lot more of that. It is not going to end. So you 8%ers in here who say, let's keep negotiating. I've negotiated a lot in getting contracts and buying houses and selling houses. It's part of what I've done for 25 or 30 years. But I know at some point the parties sitting across the table have some mutuality. You want to sell, I want to buy. You want to buy, I want to sell. There's something there that gets us to a table where we can check off certain boxes and go, okay, I'll do that. And oh yeah, he'll do that. There's got to be a mutuality. If you don't have any mutuality, you cannot have any sort of agreement, period. So I'm asking you 8%ers here, what the hell do you think is going to be a suitable agreement that they will take and that they will uphold? Because there isn't one. And as hard as it is to swallow, it's possible we may see a lot of deaths. But war's not pretty. But you can't let it continue. If we just turned around, brought all the ships back here, said, never mind, it's not going to work, you still have to ask yourself the same question. When you wake up in the morning and decide to walk out in the street, do you feel safe? Do you think that they're not going to do something? Are we over-exaggerating it? Is President Trump over-exaggerating the threat? Is Bibi Netanyahu over-exaggerating the threat? I don't know. I saw them hang glide into a concert and blow people away. I saw the videos of certain things I will not repeat because they are so horrendous. It was like watching a sequel to Faces of Death. That's how bad it was. I remember I kept it on my phone for so long in case anybody tried to rebut and say, oh, it wasn't like that. Seriously? Want to look? It was awful. And so I would just love to know from people, where is the peace and how does it happen? Because even if they say, we'll be okay, they're lying to you. In fact, they've already said, we're not giving up our nuclear ambitions. Well, then you got to die. I'm sorry if that sounds matter of fact and cold, but we don't have any choice. I'm tired of liberals and news skanks crying and whining about war crimes. Oh my God, war crimes. I don't have a war crime. I'm trying to stop an enemy. You got a problem up here somewhere. America needs to stand strong. I feel that completely. I feel it in my heart. I don't want to see mass people dying, but I don't know what other choice we have. So you can let me know in the chat what you think, what choices we have with this, but I'm not sure. But I'm going to show you what's happened today, and I'm going to show you how it's been going on for quite some time and how the media is actually part of this whole thing. Let me bring SV on so we can get going. SV, you there? Hello.
Hey there. Hey there.
What's going on?
First, got to let you know something technical. Apparently, your video is a little out of sync with your voice. I did refresh. I'm getting the same thing. So it's on both YouTube and Rumble.
I've noticed that a couple of my buttons aren't working, but here's the problem. If I reset, it'll turn everything off.
Right,
and I don't want to turn it. I can't turn everything off. So I don't know why it didn't sync when I hit the button to stream. But there's literally, hold on. Let me try one thing. I'll come. I won't turn off. But let me try. Let me try. Let me put this on. Hold on. All right, I restarted my camera. Check. Is it better?
Yes. Yes,
Okay,
it's
yeah.
actually it's in sync for me at least. That's
Okay, so I
good.
didn't have to
All
turn
right.
off the. If that was the only thing I could try to do is reset the camera, because
Good deal.
if I did anything else, it would cut the entire stream, and I
Understand.
don't want to do that.
No
So all
worries.
right,
No
so
worries. Well, I have a
hopefully,
couple things.
okay, go for it.
All right. The first thing is, I don't know if people knew this, but El Salvador, Bukele, just hit a whopping 94% approval rating. I mean, it says the best approval rating for any leader on the planet. I think that's amazing. So
Say
there's
that
a fun
again.
fact for
Did
you.
you say 90?
94% approval rating.
Wow, wow.
That is amazing. Right.
It's it's amazing that he doesn't have to deal with liberals and stupid judges. He took care of that as soon as he got in office.
Exactly. Meanwhile, in China, China's dream of overtaking the U.S. economy is falling like a meteor, fast and in flames. In 2021, they were at 78% of U.S. GDP. Now it's down to 64%, and the gap just doubled. Real estate crisis crushing everything. Endless property crash, wiped out savings, stalled construction, turning the whole economy into quicksand. And I'm sure the oil not getting to them is making it even worse for them. I didn't know that. I know they were struggling, but wow.
Yeah, I mean it's got to be a big deal for them to be able to even do that kind of stuff. So it's huge. Did you see let me see if my camera is going to work on this. Did you see the stuff that Trump posted this morning? Because
Oh yeah.
he posted it and then he came with a backup post, and then now it's actually, I mean, we're basically back at it right now. They haven't dropped any
Yeah.
bombs, but they did light up that ship, and so they have engaged militarily, whether it's dropping stuff or letting people know, but they blew a hole in the side of a boat. And
Yeah, and Iran's threatening to retaliate with what? Like a rowboat and a flare gun? I mean,
yeah,
come on.
basically.
Yeah.
All right, I'll be back
So,
at you.
all right, see you soon.
Oh, Liz, you got something else?
Well, I had one last thing. So
Please.
I'm seeing a lot of like X posts coming about Nick Shirley. Apparently, he's going to drop a video tomorrow about Omar. He says counting error is wild. Net worth magically jumps to 30 million and poof, drops to like 95K once people notice. So he's calling her out, saying suspicious AF to balloon by millions and then blame the accountant. IRS, where you at? This ain't a typo.
They
So
they've got
apparently she,
they've got to be looking at her. You don't make
absolutely.
those kind of, I mean, from 30 and 90,000 to tens of millions and back down. And no, I mean that's like begging for an audit at that point.
Yeah, if I did that, I'd be friggin' in irons. Take me,
They would have already knocked down the door, or rather kicked in the door. So we got to check something else. So
All right, well,
I'll make it a point to cover that tomorrow.
okay. All right, I'll
All
let you
right.
get back to it.
Thank you. All right. So I'm mentioning this ship that got taken out. And here's what President Trump had to say. If the camera's working with me, it is. It says, today, an Iranian flagged cargo ship named Tuska, nearly 900 feet long and weighing almost as much as an aircraft carrier, tried to get past our naval blockade, and it did not go well for them. The U.S. Navy guided missile destroyer USS Spruance intercepted the Tuska in the Gulf of Oman and gave them fair warning to stop. The Iranian crew refused to listen, so our Navy ship stopped them right in their tracks by blowing a hole in the engine room. Right now, U.S. Marines have taken custody of the vessel. The Tuska is under U.S. Treasury sanctions because of their prior history of illegal activity. We have full custody of the ship, and we're going to see what else is on board. So they have taken custody of this ship. I'm going to show you the video of them basically taking the shots at it, because it's pretty incredible. I hope the censors don't get ticked off, but we shall see. One of tonight's sponsors is the MAGA offers. I wanted to show you this Pretty interesting. With the 250th anniversary happening in Washington, these guys from MAGA Offers have come up with a wreath, a pretty nice looking wreath. This is one of those things I didn't expect they would be able to pull off, but it's patriotic, so I'm sharing it with you guys because it's kind of fun, and you guys might like it on your house for the 250th anniversary. It's called the limited edition Brave Wings Eagle Memorial Wreath, created in celebration of America's 250th freedom anniversary. In case anyone needs a reminder, it's America's 250th year of independence. There are many ways to show your patriotism, and this one, that falls right in that middle ground where it stands out, but in a simple yet classy way. You've got the eagle shape, the red, white, and blue colors. It's got that classic American feel without screaming at you. You know, we all want freedom. We all want opportunity. Well, I think everybody wants opportunity. At least we do. We all want to live in a country we're proud of. Again, I don't know if that's all of us, but you do. That's what this represents. Without picking a political side, it actually looks like a nice collector's item, not a throwaway decoration. For you guys out there, let's be honest, the women in your life would love this on the front door. Robin's got all kinds of timely wreaths that she puts up. She's got Christmas, she's got Easter, she's got Mother's Day, Thanksgiving, obviously, Halloween, all kinds of wreaths that she puts up. This would be one to put into the rotation. And good news for you, right now, it's got 15% off just by using the link in the description. That link being themagaoffers.com/Barry250. Again, who wouldn't like a discount? 10% off every purchase goes to nonprofits supporting veterans and their families. So if this is something that you'd like, I wouldn't wait. Stuff like this that they offer typically moves fast. You guys remember them, the same company who did the knives. So the link again is themagaoffers.com/Barry250 for 15% off. So go grab one, hang it up, and show your patriotism. All right, let's get the show started. Boom.
One man is being victimized by our own government. One man whom they fear, yet who millions love. One man who is willing to take the poison arrows of lawfare. One man whose voice has been taken away by a corrupt judge operating in a corrupt system. One man who has been ridiculed and insulted. One man who refused to back down. One man who refused to back down. One man who refused to back down. One man who stands between us and them. One man that wants to see America protected again. One man who wants to see America prosper again. One man who understands that a man is a man and a woman is a woman. One man who understands and protects the blessing of life. One man who wants to restore American exceptionalism. One man who once again wants to make America that shining city on a hill for all to see. A place where all the people of the world glowingly set their eyes upon. America. One man who unashamedly wants to make America great again. That one man is Donald Trump.
This is Fanfare with Barry Cunningham.
All right, so I told you that they I won't say attacked, but they boarded and took down a ship over there in the Gulf of Oman, it said. Here's the actual information put up by U.S. Central Command. It says, U.S. forces disable vessel attempting to enter Iranian port, which is violating the blockade. U.S. forces disable vessel operating in Arabian Sea and U.S. forces operating in the Arabian Sea. What happened? Wait a second. Hold on. SV just texted me. I don't know if there's something wrong or something. Wait a second here. Oh, okay. Wait a minute. Yeah. Oh boy, it's about to break off here. It's about to get really bad. All right, so this was, I wanted to show you this. This was U.S. forces operating in the Arabian Sea enforced naval blockade measures against an Iranian flag cargo vessel attempting to sail towards an Iranian port. Guided missile destroyer, the USS Spruance, intercepted the Tuska as it transited the North Arabian Sea at 17 knots en route to Bandar Abbas. Okay, but I've got video of it, and let me show you what exactly happened.
Motor Vessel Tosca, vacate your engine room. Vacate your engine room. We're prepared to subject you to disabling fire.
Okay, we gave the flare. Now we're getting anything. Be ready.
He says that vessel is now in Marine custody with a hole blown in its engine room.
All right, so we're going to come back to the video. The tweet that SV just sent me. Let me put this up. It says Iran says it has just launched coordinated drone strikes on multiple U.S. warships. The trigger: U.S. forces attacked an Iranian cargo ship traveling from China to Iran. Iran apparently hit back hard. Multiple warships targeted simultaneously. This is Iranian state media, so take it with salt, but even if half of this is true, the Gulf just got a lot hotter. I don't know why they would have put that up. If it's the Iranian state media, why even put it up until it gets verified? But if it's true, all hell is about to break loose. I mean, you have to realize if they did attack our ships, all hell is about to break loose. Sooner, I mean, the next thing that came up, Iran's vice president, whoever that is, just put the entire global oil market on notice. Either a free oil market for all or a risky and costly one for everyone. Translation: lift the sanctions or we make the Strait of Hormuz everyone's problem. All right, so there's saber rattling and it seems like something is flying, so we're going to have to monitor it. SV will let me know if there's any information that they actually attack our warships. If they attacked our warships, it's going to get really bad very quickly, very quickly. Let's go back to the video.
Meanwhile, Tehran reportedly is refusing to negotiate with the U.S. in Pakistan. Senior foreign affairs correspondent Greg Palcott is live from Tel Aviv with the latest. Greg.
John, there are new questions about those planned upcoming talks between the United States and Iran as the U.S. and Iran face off in the Gulf. The U.S. Navy is enforcing a blockade around the Strait of Hormuz. President Trump just recently has said a naval ship intercepted an Iranian vessel that tried to get past the quarantine, refused to stop, forcing the U.S. to target this ship. And for the first time during this operation, U.S. service members went on board. He said in a post, in part, our Navy ship stopped them right in their tracks by blowing a hole in the engine room. Right now, U.S. Marines have custody of the vessel. That's very crucial. U.S. service members on an Iranian ship. All this comes as talks are planned for Islamabad starting Tuesday between the U.S. and Iran, just ahead of the current ceasefire running out midweek. Now we're hearing from Iran as well, referencing the U.S. naval blockade and the rhetoric coming from the White House, indicating they might not even take part in the talks, or at least they still haven't decided. One state news agency blaming, I'm quoting here, Washington's excessive demands, unrealistic expectations, constant shifts in stance, repeated contradictions, and the ongoing naval blockade, which it considers a breach of the ceasefire.
All right, so they're saying we broke the ceasefire by going and interdicting that boat, but the boat wasn't supposed to be there. And I don't know if somebody made a mistake there, but was this a Chinese boat? Because I saw that on Mario's post that it was a Chinese boat trying to get into Iran. So this could get really, really dicey very quickly. And if we can continue, I can't confirm that anything else has been shot. Looked at the Department of War, nothing there as well. So we'll wait and see if we can confirm that. But as of right now, nobody on our side has confirmed it. Maybe they won't confirm it. Maybe they will just strike back. Like I said, it's about 3 o'clock in the morning right now in Iran. So hold on to everything. Things might get crazy. I might have to fire up my my Iranian feed, because there's a feed I get that shows the sky over in Iran. Things might get squirrely really soon here. All right, let's continue with this.
John, we are waiting on a final move from both sides to see if this is just a last-minute posturing and some skirmishing, or a real breakdown in the diplomatic path. We will see in the coming hours and days. Back to you.
The constant shifts in stance, that's unusual. The White House, it seems, at least from the talking points that have been released on the U.S. side of things, they've been pretty consistent about what they want from Iran.
Very consistent, yes. I mean, key points, and I think we still have to keep going back to the central issue that's at the heart of this, and that's the suspect nuclear program of Iran. The U.S. is demanding that the highly enriched uranium that Iran has be shipped out of the country. The enrichment process ends, and any thought of Iran building a nuclear weapon.
All right, so I told you it was fluid. It's going crazy. SP, hit me up if you see anything else. But this is where we are. And for those people who said we need to negotiate, understand now they have if it is true, they have fired on American vessels. If they have fired on these warships, they are going to engage responsively and much harder. I mean, I would expect at this point that President Trump is going to get the aircraft carrier, everything. They're going to go after him really hard. It's time to, how do I say this word without offending anybody? Extinct these people? Just take them out completely? I know that sounds harsh. I know there's a lot of people who are like, let's negotiate. You can't negotiate with terrorists. And so at this point, we're going to have to get out there and do it. And expect this to happen as well. Expect the media to be even more prostitutes than they are right now. The media has already, before this incident has occurred, if something occurred, if the media wanted to make sure that they were anti-American, they couldn't have done it any better than what they did today. They showed the nation. If you haven't seen it, I'm about to show you. They have showed the nation that they are completely against Trump and America. I want you to see a couple cuts I got for you.
Is calling for wiping out a civilization. Is calling for wiping out an entire civilization
the
bad or
Iranian
good?
terrorist regime.
But that's not what he said.
Of course it's bad. That is not what he is calling for. He wasn't calling for genocide.
Your entire civilization
it was targeted towards the Iranian terrorist regime.
All right.
It was targeted towards the Iranian
disagree.
terrorist regime.
Agree to disagree. The book
CNN. This is typical CNN.
Okay.
If you want to compare the President of the United States to the university presidents who failed to call for the condemnation of calling for the genocide of Jews, that's on you, Jake. The world saw how morally equivocating those university presidents were. Yes, you're the one that is it's not a comparison. So if you want to make that comparison,
you if you have the
that's
same
on
standard
CNN.
for somebody.
That is not the comparison. Of course, genocide is bad across the board, Jake. President Trump effectively brought the Iranians to the table. He effectively delivered a ceasefire, and he is going to effectively deliver peace to the Middle East to stop, frankly, the killing of the Iranian terrorist regime, which kills their own people and has created havoc across the Middle East.
But the media never reported that, so it's brand new to people who listen to CNN. when Elise Stefanik was just saying about how they've been killing people over there, how they've killed 30 or 40,000 protesters, the reason he doesn't talk back about it because they've never reported it. And so they create disillusion, they create misinformation and distrust because they don't tell the people watching what they've done. It's a fact of omission that they are purposely trying to slant things to make it seem like Trump is the bad guy. America is the bad guy. We should let them live, let them do whatever they want. What do you mean we're going to go ahead and erase their civilization? I even read that and went, no, he doesn't mean kill everybody. He's talking about their civilization. How they govern as a country, change the mindset, not kill everybody, but that's what they're trying to foster. It's even more telling on this one.
Is he prepared to do what he threatened here? He said, destroy every power plant and every bridge in the country, full-on, in-depth war extended in the Middle East. He's ready for that?
Well, all options are on the table, absolutely. Unlike his predecessor, President Trump doesn't publicly take options off the table and tell our adversaries what he's not going to do, therefore giving them leverage. All options are on the table. We could take that infrastructure out relatively easily. The Iranian air defenses have been absolutely decimated. And just to get ahead of a lot of the critics and hand-wringing, throwing out irresponsible terms like war crimes, attacking, destroying infrastructure that has clearly and historically been used for dual military purposes is not a war crime. I mean, we've heard that from Democratic lawmakers. We've heard that from others. And it is irresponsible and just flat wrong.
But Mr. Ambassador, let me be clear. The president today said that he would knock out every single power plant and every single bridge in Iran. He's not just talking about those that are supporting the military infrastructure. He's saying every bridge and every power plant in the country.
How do you know, sitting in your cushy office at ABC News, in your nice air-conditioned studio, how do you know which of these bridges they are using to transport munitions? How do you know which power plants are being used to fuel the things they need to fuel? You don't have that information. And so instead of saying which bridges, why would he do it? Do you have any information about which one of these things they're No, they're just freaking out because of the threat that's made. The threat that's made to take these installations out, the same installations that they were basically tying people to, bringing out women and children and staying hand in hand. And our media is out there, completely outraged.
That wouldn't be a war crime?
That would be an escalatory ladder. And if you go back in the history of warfare, go all the way back to World War II, of course, we bombed and took down bridges, other infrastructure, power plants that, yes, could be used for civilian, but also are used to manufacture drones and missiles. And the Iranian regime in particular and its terrorist proxies have a long history of actually deliberately hiding military infrastructure in hospitals, schools, neighborhoods, and
Why is he having to school ABC News? Well, he's not really schooling ABC News. He's trying to talk to the people who are watching this drivel and let them know this has been their modus operandi. This is what they've done. They hide things in schools and in hospitals because they play the American media off against the American public. They know the American media is going to carry their water for them. They know that the American media is going to make everything we do on the right look like we're the bad guys, even though they're the ones who are hiding things in the basements of churches and hospitals and schools. It's evil, but they've been doing it a long, long time.
And other civilian assets. So they are standing on, they have no ground to stand on, number one. Number two, they have a long history of commingling. Number three, it's perfectly acceptable in the rules of land warfare. And number four, the Iranian regime is launching drones and missiles directly into civilian homes, hotels, and resorts across the Gulf. So this is just a ridiculous argument we've heard in the media, from the Iranians, and frankly, from some lawmakers here at home.
Now, he mentioned some lawmakers here at home. Let me read you a very disgusting tweet by none other than libtard Ted Lieu. Dear the Joint Staff, talking about the Joint Staff in the Army, if you follow illegal orders to commit war crimes, you will be prosecuted by the future administration. Bombing every single power plant and every single bridge would violate proportionality principle and cause excessive civilian harm, which is a war crime. They're already laying the table to try and put these soldiers in jail. They want to do it to ICE. They want to do it to Border Patrol. They want to do it to the military. And they're already planning their attack if, God forbid, these people would ever get back in power. And right now, since they're not in power, what they're trying to do is get in the heads of the soldiers. Get in the head of the soldiers so they won't be effective. That maybe some of them will leave their post. I mean, we are in a diabolical situation here. I don't know how many of you actually have sat back and thought to yourself, this is getting really crazy. We have our own politicians. In fact, Chris Murphy from Connecticut, he was overseas today trashing everything about Trump. We have our own politicians who don't have anything good to say about our country. Everything Trump does is wrong. Everything on the right is wrong. Not only is it wrong, we want to throw you in jail if you do what you're supposed to do. They want to throw the officer who shot the lady, tried to run him over in a car. They want to do everything to destroy us. And I'm so sick of it, because I keep listening to all the crap, and you're watching this stuff and you realize the propaganda is voluminous. You can't expect a normal person to understand that they are being gaslit to hell. I see it because I'm in it all day long. The average person doesn't see it. And so as they're hearing news and you're realizing what they're doing, they are trying to make us lose. They are trying everything they possibly can to take your mind over and let you know you're a loser. Trump's a loser. We're going to put you in jail. Whatever kind of fear they can instill. And it's not new. I'm going to show you next after break so I can take a swig of drink. You're going to see this has been going on for quite some time. But before, we used to be able to discern and see the difference. Now there are so many susceptible people who don't understand what they're looking at, who don't understand because they can't possibly believe your own government would turn against the country. And that's what we have. So when I look in the poll and see people that keep negotiating, I'm understanding what's working right now. And the working is that the only weapon that is working for Iran, the singular weapon that is working for Iran, is the United States media and the Democrat Party. That's what they have. That is how they're waging war. They are using the media to fight for them, and the media is complicit. And so until people realize and start turning this stuff off, because every other war in our history, except for maybe Vietnam, people were supporting the soldiers. People were praying for soldiers. People wanted America to emerge victorious. Not now. And they do it in such insidious ways. I mean, little wimpy guy like Ted Lieu threatening the military as if they don't have enough to worry about right now. as if every one of those guys and women who are out there being deployed don't have anything better to think about. They got to watch their own butts. And now you're trying to put stuff out there saying, we're going to throw you all in jail as soon as we get power. Well, what you need to make sure, this is what should be motivating you. This is another thing that we as right-leaning Americans should be saying, well, we could never let that happen. Every day I see, oh, we're going to do this. We're going to pack the Supreme Court. We're going to everything, make Puerto Rico a state, make Washington, D.C. its own state. We're going to make it so that you guys are going to just succumb to us, and we are going to take over America and destroy your lives. This election coming up shouldn't be close. And President Trump is going to have to do everything with his department to make sure they're not cheating. But if you can see in April where they're headed, you know what's coming. They have decided they're going full in. And it's nothing new, but just people aren't recognizing it. I'm going to show you that in a second here.
Back to Fanfare with Barry Cunningham.
Want to show you this. Before I show you this, let me talk to you about Lear Capital, because now would be a time for you to start looking at different things you're going to be doing. Hold on, let me get my little artwork thing here. Where is it? I thought I had it in front of me. I got to have my artwork key. The computer was playing all kinds of crazy games earlier. Did I delete it? If so, I'm going to have to. Okay, here we go. You can see the games that they're playing right now with the oil. Oil is up. Actually, just dropped a little bit, dropped down to, no, it went up to 80 something. Silver has dropped 3% today. Silver and gold are going to be under attack. You guys at this point know it. So you understand what is the most essential asset in your life is one you don't own. I'm talking about silver. The world's industrial, the industrial world is running out of it. Despite all of this stuff, it's going to come back to the point where we have to have silver. AI, which President Trump keeps talking about, demands that we have silver. The U.S. government recently designated silver a critical mineral. Why? Because you can't build a single solar panel, electric vehicle, or modern computer without it. You definitely can't do AI without it. So for 5 straight years, we've used more silver than we can possibly mine. For those of you who took economics, that is complete supply and demand. Unlike paper money, producers can't just print more silver to meet this exploding demand. This isn't just a shiny metal. It's a matter of national security, and you're seeing it right now, how it goes down when the oil goes up. It's all being manipulated. Get your information, do your research, don't get caught flat-footed. It definitely is a matter of national security and economic survival. That's why experts see it hitting $150 an ounce, and Bank of America, they said it could climb up to $300 by the end of this year. Think about it. If the industries to power the world need it, if you need it to do everything with AI that President Trump is talking about, with these data centers and everything else, then you know this is a temporary thing and you see it every other day. But you're going to have to do your own research. I personally own it. I continue to buy because I can tell where that puck is headed. So call my friends at Lear Capital, give them 10 minutes and they'll help you get started today, or give them a call tomorrow rather, 800-601-5430, 800-601-5430, or go to learberry.com and download a free silver report. And then read that report and start understanding what's going on in the market, because it's volatile, but there's a stability that has to be in place because they just can't make any more. And now after this whole thing, I'm telling you right now, I wouldn't even tell you if it wasn't true. After this Iran thing is done, bada bing, bada boom, it's gonna explode. All right, so I want to move into something that you may have heard before, but you may have forgotten it. I want to show you how easy it is to see what this media is doing if you know your history. And I'm going to talk to you about Rush Limbaugh.
Just one more thing I want to do, play a little game. I mentioned to you in the opening monologue of the first hour, about an hour ago, that our good friend and colleague, Brit Hume at Fox News, thinks I went a little overboard in comparing the Democrats to the Iranians. And Shannon Bream asked him about the death of the Quds Force commander Qasem Soleimani. To set things up, she introduced and played a clip of me from yesterday's program.
I want to play a little bit of Rush Limbaugh today, talking about the reaction from the left in a number of quarters to the death of Qasem Soleimani, who is unmistakably responsible for the deaths of hundreds, if not thousands of Americans, thousands of other people of all ethnicities and backgrounds, but including, yes, American lives. Here's what Rush Limbaugh said today in talking with the president about reaction.
In the past 2 or 3 days since the attack on Soleimani, you literally have the Democrat Party and elements of that party openly supporting Iran, an enemy of the United States.
I listened to this. I went, there is so much gold in the stuff that Rush Limbaugh had been talking about. But I didn't realize it was cyclical gold. I didn't realize we're watching the same movie 10 years later. We're all shocked that the media could be acting this way. We can't believe that they're taking the side of the Iranians. And then when I found this piece, I went, wait a second. Are you serious? They were doing this all along? Nothing has changed except now some people don't know it. It's been far enough away since Rush was telling us. The media and the Democrats are for Iran. And I literally, Robin's like, you watching another old Rush Limbaugh show? Like, I watch all his old shows all the time to see just everything about him. And I got to this one and I went, you got to be kidding me. How many people know that for 10 plus years, he's been telling people, or was telling people, that the media and the Democrats are aligned with Iran,
supporting the terrorist actions of that country. And this is a country that beheads homosexuals and transgenders and has no human rights for the very constituency the Democrat Party claims to represent. I don't know what's arguable about that.
Nothing. You couldn't argue it then. You can't argue it now. And sometimes I just want to take people by their shoulders and shake them and go, wake up, snap out of it. The media is an enemy. I don't understand why more people, and he was talking about Fox. He was talking about two people who are still on Fox News today, Shannon Bream and Brit Hume. And he was aligning and telling people back then, hey man, these people are bad. These people, stop listening to them. They're going to poison you. And he was talking about Fox News. Never mind CNN, and back then when it was called MSNBC and the rest of them, the media doesn't want to see America succeed.
I mean, the Democrat, all of these little millennials and these AOC types, they do think that Iran is superior. I've got a story right here. Ocasio-Cortez accuses monster Trump of engaging in war crimes over Iran threats.
Go ahead, shake it off. I know you got some goosebumps. You're like, same playbook? Exact same playbook. No different. That's why I showed you what Ted Lieu said. I wanted to show you what Jake Tapper and the guy, John Carl from ABC. I'm like, we're watching a repeat. We are sitting back right now being subjected to just a rollout repeat. The Democrats did it back then. War crimes, war crimes. And they just filed it away in case they ever had to go back to the playbook. Oh, wait a minute. Let's go to the war crimes playbook when he was talking about Iran 8 years ago, whenever this was. It must give you goosebumps. If it doesn't give you goosebumps, at least it must snap you out of it and go, wait a minute, I'm watching the same movie. I feel like I'm in Inception. If you haven't seen the movie Inception with Leonardo DiCaprio, where they're bending time, and I feel like we're bending time. It's exact same. It's literally the same people. Not only saying the same words, it's the same people, like AOC.
You know, Trump has threatened to hit their cultural sites. They don't have any cultural sites. Cultural sites are military installations.
I'm telling you, I could have just played this. Like it sounds like he's on the radio today. That's how you know how great this man was. I'm digging in an archive, and I told Robin today, I'm like, it sounds like he was describing what's happening today. Nothing. Literally nothing has changed. The libtards had just went back to an old playbook on a different day, hoping you don't remember, and they know the idiots that they represent won't remember. And obviously social media is much more advanced, Twitter and YouTube and Instagram. And so all of that has advanced where they know the people who heard this 7 or 8 years ago are not the same people they're telling it to today. The mindset, the people they are attacking were probably 13 and 14 and 15 back then, who were running around in physical education class or, bake sales, and now they're getting to poison them again with the same message: war crimes. Or they may have been in college and they didn't hear it, and so they're saying war crimes. And we got to support Iran, river to the sea, and all that kind of crap.
We already got rid of their cultural sites. It happened a long time ago. I'm half jesting here, but the point is that here you've got Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez accusing Trump of being a monster for engaging in war crimes in Iran. Another headline: AOC likes tweet from Russian state media claiming Iran doesn't target civilians.
We just watched them, well, most of us have watched them kill 30 or 40,000 people, their own people. 30 or 40,000 or more. And back then she was saying they don't target their own people. And we knew they were targeting their own people because there were actually videos of it. Especially if you were, a fluffy in Iran. They're going to toss you off a building. You were not allowed to speak against the regime. You still can't speak against the regime. They were lying then and they're lying now, and nobody's calling them out.
So our good buddies, the Russians, are out tweeting that, I don't know what Trump's talking about, Iran does not target civilians. Well, they're only the Middle Eastern state sponsor of terrorism. By definition, it attacks civilians. What the hell do you think a suicide bomb is? But here's Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez out liking and retweeting the Russian tweet.
Why would an American elected official be tweeting anti-American stuff? And as you answer yourself that question, understand this, again, 8-9 years ago. They were doing it back then. They just waited for their opportunity to do it today. And now they're doing it. Same characters. He's going to mention a couple other new characters, other ones, and you're going to realize it's the same ones doing it today. They are screwing with people's minds. And we can't reach these people to tell them, wake up, you're watching a movie. It literally is Inception. Spin the little jack or something so you can see you're being used or your time is being folded. I understand if you haven't seen the movie Inception, you have no idea what I just said. But if you've seen the movie Inception, you know specifically what I just said. We definitely have to be spinning the jack to see, is this real? Is this real? Did we step into an alternate universe? Because it's too eerie. It can't be by accident. It's so eerie. That's the part that got me. It's like, this can't be so similar if it wasn't choreographed.
That Iran doesn't kill civilians. So this is not an out of the bounds thing to say. And the Iranians do. If they identify homosexuals or transgenders, they're dead. You talk about people having to live in the closet someplace in Iran. This is no joke about this.
Why doesn't our media tell the people that? Because they represent so many people who would be airborne if they went to Iran. Do they not know? Does Don Lemon not know he would have to learn to fly if he went to Iran? Does, what's her name? The congressperson from, the one who flipped her, lopped off junk and stuff, McBride. Do they not know if you go over there, you're going airborne? Ted Lieu, Teddy. Do they not know if you put on a dog face and acted the fool like you do here, you would have to learn whether or not, the speed of velocity of a ground reaching up to you? Of course they do. Why does the media avoid telling people this is who we're dealing with? That we're dealing with a country, and just, never mind being American, just because you decide to play for another team, they will kill you. Wouldn't you think there'd be a whole bunch of kids in college, the ones who are running around with scarves and stuff? Wouldn't you think they'd like to know? You understand you're out here protesting, and you're protesting. One, you couldn't protest at all. There's 40,000 people who will tell you, big mistake. And number two, if you look a certain way, you're going to go airborne. And number three, you're a woman? The media doesn't tell these idiots any of this because they want to keep them as useful idiots. I sit back, even when I went to the No Kings protest here and I listened to it, I'm like, do you realize, and what this was before the Iran thing, you guys realize you can't do this in other countries? Does it not sink in who this country is, this country Iran, who you're out there talking about, who you're going against Israel? And I'm not even going to get into the Israel thing other than to say you're supporting a country against Israel, and the country you're supporting would kill you. What kind of mind F is that? You're out there with your LGBTQ flag, anti-Israel stuff, not knowing that they're looking at you going, do they not know? Do they not know? Oh, let them go ahead and mix up America. Let these young kids think that, everything is fine and it's anti-Israel, anti-America. That's how big of a useful idiot you are. Nobody's telling them. And the media hasn't been telling them that like forever.
And the very people in this country who support all of that, these expanded lifestyles, out there praising Iran, it's just ignorant.
Tell us how you really feel, Rush. It is ignorant. I would love to have some conversation with these people, but they wouldn't believe you. They wouldn't believe you because they haven't been told the opinion they need to have. Hey, listen, you understand MSNBC with the fluffy hair and everything else? You understand out here, if you were in Iran, what would happen to you? You think they care that you're supporting them? It's got to be some sort of mental deficiency beyond ignorance at this point. It's almost like Stockholm syndrome. They don't want you alive. Even if you think they're better or more important than America, thank you, not kill them. I think that's where we have to come in. I think we have to let these kids know. You realize the country you're supporting, the country that you're saying should be allowed to do what they need to do, is the same country that would destroy you. They want nothing to do with you, especially if you're a woman. Woman? What do you mean you got pretty blonde hair? Oh, no, that's impossible. Put down that hijab.
Anyway, here's Britt Hume's response to that soundbite.
The trouble with that is that it's like a lot of stuff you hear, is he has the point in the sense that the Democratic Party does not seem to be at all happy, broadly speaking, about the death of this terrorist mastermind whose departure from this earth will weaken Iran and its terrorist ambitions. But at the same time, it is not quite fair to say that the Democratic Party is openly supporting Iran. That's too strong. They have been weak in supporting our president, to be sure, but openly supporting Iran, too strong.
Well, maybe the tweets that I saw over the weekend I didn't see. And maybe the caterwauling from elected Democrats over the weekend that I saw, maybe they didn't happen. I just don't pull this stuff out of my top hat. Don't even have one of those. I don't pull it out of my back pocket and just throw it out there.
It's the same thing with me. People troll our chat and they say, Barry, you're a bootlicker and everything else. I'm like, well, just answer what I'm showing you. I'm not just pulling it out of thin air. I'm not Candace Owens. I'm actually showing you stuff from Iran and what they're saying and what they're doing, and you still can't, some people still can't understand what they are seeing. And so now every one of you watching tonight are seeing that you're looking at the exact same playbook with not even a single deviation. I could see if it was a little bit, it's not even deviating this much, which tells you that the media is your enemy. They're trying to take your minds. Every time I watch Sunday morning shows and I sit back and just go, what is Margaret Brennan doing? What is Kristen Welker? What are you people doing? Why are you working so hard to tear down America? Are you communists? Because you would think this country has allowed you to make millions. This country has afforded you the opportunity to be on a national news network where you can actually talk to people and inform them. People are trusting you that you're not anymore, but at some point people trusted the news. Oh, it's time to watch the news. Let's see what they're going to tell me. They're going to tell me the news. Not anymore, except there's a lot of people who don't know that. The ignorance that Russia's talking about has been manufactured, has been completely, honed their skill. They're so good at it now, where most people just can't see the difference.
In fact, this isn't anything new. Back when Mahmoud Ahmadinejad was the president of Iran, you couldn't tell the difference between what he was saying about Bush and what the Democrats were saying about Bush. Well, anyway, we thought we would play a little game here. We're going to go side by side, A-B comparison. And you tell me if I may be overstating that.
Now, as he begins his game here, the one thing you have to remember, this is 2018, 2019. And as he begins to play his game here, I want you to insert what's happening today in 2026 and tell me if you even see even a small deviation, or is it, exactly the same?
First is Javad Zarif. He is the Iranian foreign minister. He was on CNN this morning, said this about Trump's warning to Iran if they attack the United States.
Attacking cultural sites is a war crime. But has he made U.S. more secure? Do Americans feel more secure? Are Americans welcome today in this region? Do they feel welcome?
And here is Democrat presidential candidate Pocahontas Warren.
We now have a president who is tweeting threats of war crimes. We've had to pull all of the Americans out of the area, all the civilians. This is not making America safer.
Iranian or Democrat? You decide.
It's the same. It's almost as if they coordinated with the Iranians so they know what their talking points are. And an American elected official, a senator in the United States government, is saying the exact same words that the Iranians are saying. And when he put those together and I listened to it and I went, oh, we're in big trouble. It's been going on for quite some time. They are taking messaging directly from the Iranian regime, and they're doing it today as well. Why?
Do another one. Here's Bernie Sanders last night on CNN. Anderson Cooper questioned Senator Chris Murphy of Connecticut tweeted that targeting cultural sites is what terrorists do. Do you agree with it?
It is a war crime. And to be learning from the Taliban about destroying cultural sites is unbelievable. And the idea of spending trillions of dollars more on an endless war in Iran is, to me, just beyond comprehension.
Okay.
I know. At this point, I'm not going to belabor it too much because now you're starting to see it. Now you understand it. Now you can't look away. You're hearing them say the exact same words that they said nearly a decade ago. Forever wars. That's why they were saying it. Why? Because it worked. Everything that they did is being done again. So it's beyond ignorance. It's by design. And I'm really concerned at this point that there are way too many people here in America who don't understand that you are being gaslit by the very same people in your government. Just follow the moving ball or whatever, because that's what they're doing to us.
Hey, here's another soundbite. Is this a Democrat or is this an Iranian?
He is prepared to commit war crimes. He has killed people of this region. He has spent $1 trillion. He said that the U.S. had wasted $7 trillion in our region. He has added another $1 trillion. Is the United States more secure today because of that?
So who's that? Is that a Democrat or is that an... No, you're wrong. It's not a Democrat, although it may as well be. That, again, is Javad Zarif. He is the Iranian foreign minister. Crazy Bernie. It's a war crime to be learning from the Taliban about destroying cultural sites. Unbelievable. The idea of spending trillions of dollars more on an endless war in Iran is beyond comprehension. Here comes the Iranian. He is prepared to commit war crimes. He has killed people in this region. He has spent $1 trillion. He said he would just have wasted $7 trillion in our region.
I had such a good time watching this, and I'm like, I got to show this tonight. I need people to understand how bad the war is for your intellect. So bad that they have honed their craft so well, and it's obvious. And this is where it gets scary. You cannot look away from the show tonight. You can't do it. You cannot walk away from tonight without realizing at this point the media is in cahoots with Iran, which then makes them in cahoots with the Democrats, which means they are our enemy, our own government. There are factions in our own government who are aligned with the enemy. And that's a very sobering thought. It's a scary thought. No wonder they've done everything they possibly can to Trump. That one man, as I played in my intro, that one man they couldn't buy. That one man who they could not corrupt the way they needed to. That one man who they had to try and take out permanently. That one man that they impeached twice. That one man that they put in courtrooms across the country. Why? Because they had to have him removed. And so whenever I see people on X talking, and I'm like, you really think we're going to lose the midterms? If we lose the midterms, and it's fair, let's say the cheating we get rid of that. And if we still lose the midterms, dare I say, we deserve it. Because everything I am going to try and show you guys for the next 7 months is to show you how evil this Democrat Party is, how conniving, how scheming, how they will do anything, including sell you out to a country like Iran, just so they could get power. Just so they can do whatever they can to grab whatever it is you and your family have built. Just so they can take money from you. Just so they can force feed you their ideology of what a boy is and what a boy isn't. And if all of that is happening and we're still in a 51-50 type of mentality, then we're in big trouble and we possibly may deserve that what could happen to us. Even the Republicans, why is John Thune not passing the Save America Act? I don't know. I think all of this stuff is not coincidental. I think it's by intention. Why is Rand Paul and why is Mitch McConnell? Why are all these people so against what President Trump wants to do? Because it screws them up. And I dare not call John Thune a traitor yet. I dare not call Mitch McConnell a traitor yet, or Susan Collins, or Lisa Murkowski. But something doesn't add up. If you're under threat, as I said yesterday, you want to know people got your back. And right now we have people on supposedly our side who we can't be sure have our back. And so if not enough people are screaming about this, if not enough people, somebody asked me if it's so important, why don't MAGA make protests? Why aren't we out there in the street screaming? I can't answer that. I'd go. Maybe we need to begin organizing. Maybe we need to be doing what they're doing so that we can show 1 million people out in the street. I don't know. But I do know that we are up against forces who want this country destroyed, and you can't deny it.
Yes, and another truth is use is more secure today because of that. You can't tell the difference here other than the accents. And one more, here is Pencil Neck on December 18th on the floor of the House during debate on the articles of impeachment.
When Donald J. Trump was sworn in on January 20th, 2017, he repeated these words: I do solemnly swear that I will faithfully execute the office of the President of the United States and will, to the best of my ability, preserve, protect, and defend the Constitution of the United States. Has he lived up to that sacred obligation? Has he honored his oath of office? Has he preserved, protected, and defended the Constitution of the United States? The uncontested evidence provides the simple yet tragic answer: he has not. In America, no one is above the law.
Except for you. Except for the guy actually saying that. Except for the guy who, at this point, may get his comeuppance sooner than later. I'm going to show you what I'm talking about that next. Yeah, I got that queued up next. Adam Schiff has had the nerve to say this all along. Adam Schiff, who led impeachment trials. Adam Schiff, who did some funny stuff with some funny people, but never gets held accountable. Adam Schiff, who hates America. These people can't possibly love this country doing what they've done.
Uncontested evidence. There isn't any evidence. There never has been any evidence for any allegation these people have mounted. At any rate, so that's Adam Schiff. And here now is the next voice. Tell me, is this an Iranian or is this a Democrat?
We are law-abiding people. We're not lawless like President Trump. He is destroying the U.S. Constitution. He is destroying the U.S. political process. He is destroying the rule of law in the United States.
You tell me. That against the Iranian Foreign Minister Zavi Zaref or whatever. You tell me the difference between these guys and the Democrats.
And I want to throw something else at you. Why are we even playing what these guys are saying? Why does our media make sure we know what Iran says? It's not news, it's propaganda. It's pure propaganda. They're playing it because they want to support it. They want to support it because they feel the exact same way. If Iran can take Trump out, that'll work for us. We don't hear Bahamian news. I don't hear anything from Bermuda. I barely hear anything from El Salvador. Don't hear anything from Argentina. Why is our media so interested in playing propaganda from Iran? And once you start looking at things with that kind of perspective, you realize you're being used. You're being hosed. They're trying to gaslight you.
You can't. In case of Schiff and this guy, that's almost word for word verbatim. It's not a stretch to claim that the Democrats sound like an echo chamber of the Iranians, and it's not new. Here, one more before we go to the break. This is kind of unreal. CBS This Morning correspondent Elizabeth Palmer is interviewing the Iranian Foreign Minister Javad Zarif. She says there are reports that the supreme leader, meaning the Ayatollah Khamenei, who they all eminently respect, they wouldn't say one negative thing about the Ayatollah. Even if he had a private club and a golf course, which he doesn't, they wouldn't ridicule this guy at all. Remember when Mike Wallace interviewed the Ayatollah Khomeini? 60 Minutes, 25, 30 years, remember that? Imam. Most respectful thing you've ever seen. Nobody in the U.S. interviews Trump this way. Anyway, here's the question from Elizabeth Palmer. There are reports that the supreme leader has ordered that any revenge attacks should be proportional and carried out by Iranian forces.
We are a law-abiding nation. When we take action,
That's right.
It won't be disproportionate, unlike what President Trump has said. There has been
CBS News allowing whoever that was talking about the Ayatollah Khamenei, who's now dead, to just say that we are law-abiding citizens. It's Trump who's the problem. Why would you have that person, that was, again, 8 or 9 years ago, on your television station as CBS News talking trash about an American president? This is why I believe their licenses at the FCC have to be stricken. They're no longer, and I don't know how long they haven't been this way, but they are not a down the road, down the middle network that just gives the news without opinion or slant. You would think you're hearing news. How long has it been since we've actually heard news? You imagine if you turned on CNN and they said it's 85 degrees in Boca Raton today. Chance of rain is 10%. And looks like we've got an accident on I-95. And tonight we're going to have the bake sale with the Girl Scouts, who are actually girls. And we're going to have the Boy Scouts who are going to be there as well, who are actually boys. And then later on, we're going to check in with high school football. And just say the news. But how long has it been since you've actually heard news? And I understand, Barry, you're giving opinion right now. I'm not a news outlet. I do not advocate that I am. I am an opinionated person. Rush Limbaugh, opinionated. But these people, they posit themselves as being news networks. They've long ago stopped being news networks. When you see this panels and there's 5 or 6 people, those aren't that's not news. That's 5 or 6 people giving an opinion. When Scott Jennings is on there and he's got to deal with these nut jobs, that's not news. Even Scott, it's not news. It's opinion. I don't think we can say we have any news anymore.
The killing of several Iranian citizens and several high-ranking Iranian military officers. That is what we will do, and we will do it not in a cowardly way, but in a clear and proportionate way. When? As we choose.
She's wanting him to do it.
So he's like, yeah, we'll strike when we want to. And she wants to know when. She didn't say, no, you shouldn't do that. No, you shouldn't strike America. You shouldn't try to hurt America. I'm an American on CBS News. I don't want you people to do that. When? Is what she responded. Almost trying to, can I be there with a camera when you blow something up here? When there's a suicide bomber, can you let us know in advance? We'd love to be there. Instead of saying, well, that'd be problematic. I'm not sure I really like the fact that you are going to strike at all. But that's not what she said.
She's sitting there, she's wearing the hijab, or the hijab. What is she wearing? The hijab. He's wearing the hijab. Imam, when are you going to hit Americans? When? When is it going to happen? We want to be there. When you hit them. Don't tell me that it is overboard to compare the Democrats and the Iranian rhetoric.
Exactly. From the grave, Rush Limbaugh just pointed out that the media and the Democrats in Iran are all the same. We cannot forget. We must tell people when you turn on that boob tube and you're listening to any of these stations, every single one of them want Iran to defeat Trump. I'm not even making this up. You know it. If you look at what they're saying, they can't wait to report, if it were to happen, that Trump messed up, that Americans got killed, that this didn't need to happen, and now we need to look at his mental fit, everything they possibly can. They do exactly as the Iranians tell them to do, or whoever it is that's telling the Iranians what to do. And we're stuck with them people. And so I hope you can find a way to talk to people that you work with or come in contact with. Is like, watch out. This is not news. You can tell when you hear the press conferences and Trump's like, you're just bad. You're evil. I don't even want to talk to you. It's coming up that we have the prayer thing that they're doing, I think on Tuesday. I think it's Tuesday. And they're already complaining about that. Think about the idiocy of this. They are complaining that the President of the United States is going to be reading some Bible passages. That it somehow interferes with church and state, which they've completely bastardized as well. But none of them, not a single one of them, will say anything about Mondami going in as the mayor of New York and doing blah, 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 blah. That's fine. You Christians, there's a problem with you. Why would anyone in the media have a problem with Christianity? Why would anyone in the media have a problem with Christianity, but love the idea that Mondami goes in there and gets on his knees and prays in a mosque? You notice that? That's okay. We're for that. We're not for this. So you're not for Christianity. You're not for the Jews going to synagogues, but you're for the enemy. praying in a mosque. That's all you need to know.
Welcome back to Fanfare with Barry Cunningham.
Hey man, what you got? Got any breaking news? Are we blowing stuff up yet, or we're still hanging cool?
No, I haven't seen anything that further that's earlier story. So I think it might have been a little bit of propaganda. But I do have something regarding the midterms you were just talking about. So if something does happen in midterms, it's probably The Walking Dead coming back to life, because earlier I read this: 29 states are hiding voter roll data from the Trump DOJ, which has already found 350,000 deceased people on the rolls in multiple jurisdictions. AAG Harmeet Derhillan has referred 25,000 people with no citizenship records to DHS to see if and when they voted. She goes, what are they hiding? What do you think they're hiding? You know, dead people are voting. 20 million people were not alive and voted for Mr. Potato Head. Come on, man. The math ain't math.
I have, it's funny you mentioned, I just want you guys to know, I on purpose don't tell SV where I'm going with stuff, because I don't want to have him not show or talk about something or feel he needs to hold back. And so he doesn't know that that's the next segment.
Oh, crap. I just blew it again. The great minds think alike. I tell you.
I love it, because that's the very next segment I'm going to. Just actually, there's two segments. There's back to back. On Maria Bartiromo, on her show this morning, she had Kash Patel and she had Harmeet Dillon. And so I want to let people see that it's two different people, and you can hear what Kash Patel says. I know so many people have lost trust and don't believe in Kash Patel anymore, but he says some things I think I have an opinion. I want you to hear it as well. So, and then I've got Harmeet too, because she had her back to back. So yeah, exactly.
Well, you definitely can embellish better than I can. So use mine as an intro story, and I'll give it back to you.
All right, let's get in it.
There is this scathing article about you in the Atlantic magazine. The Atlantic magazine director is alleging that you have a drinking problem, that it is getting in the way of your work running the FBI. What is your response this morning to this article?
Look, Maria, you and I have been at this together for a long time, whether I was leading the investigation on Russiagate back in the House or my time in the Trump admin one and now. And the results, I say, speak for themselves. If the fake news mafia isn't hitting you personally with baseless information in Washington, D.C., then you're not doing your job. And it's louder than ever because this FBI, under President Trump's brilliant leadership in backing the blue and backing law enforcement, this FBI has the most prolific year in crime reduction in United States history.
All right, so just that, the most prolific year in the United States history. And he's got on the split screen here, 8 of the FBI's top 10 captured, 40,000 violent crime arrests, 2,000 gangs and criminal enterprises disrupted. One of my big ones, 6,300 plus child victims located, and that doesn't include what Tom Homan has done. 2,200 plus child predators arrested, 2,500 kilograms of fentanyl seized. And yet people keep saying the Department of Justice, FBI, isn't doing anything. When what they really mean is they're not doing what they want. They're definitely doing a lot. And again, we don't know where Pam Bondi is headed. And I know some people think let me hold on to what I'm going to say.
A 20% reduction in the homicide rate, a 20-point drop in opiate overdose deaths. We have found and identified 6,300 child victims. 6,300 kids get to go home to their kids. That's a 30% increase. Seizing enough fentanyl to kill 180 million Americans. That's a 31% increase. Our deal with China, where we stopped the flow of fentanyl precursors, or historic engagement thanks to President Trump in Busan. And our work continues. We've captured 8 of the top 10 most wanted fugitives in the world, to include rapists, murderers, terrorists, and narco traffickers. That's twice as many as Joe Biden did in 4 years. President Trump and this FBI got done in 14 months. So if I'm not doing my job, if I'm not working, then how is it that the FBI delivered the safest America under President Trump's leadership in the history of our country? And so, you know what? They can beat their drums and stand next to toxic waste all they want, but that doesn't make it toxic waste. And Maria, I'm happy to announce on your show that we are not going to take this laying down. You want to attack my character? Come at me. Bring it on. I'll see you in court.
Now, what's really interesting, given what you just heard with Rush and how, we talked about how the media is just another operative arm of the Democrats and our enemies. You just heard him read something, or Maria read something from The Atlantic, and how they're trashing cash. They don't care what they say about anybody. It's to the point where every single article, every single thing that's said, you really have to look at it side-eye and go, what are you talking about? Earlier when SB, we looked at that thing and it said, they shot up some warships. It seems like every single thing we need to hold and go, wait a second, did it really happen? Or is it somebody just posting something? And so now you're saying he's got a drinking problem. And now you're saying President Trump is losing his faculties. The design of this stuff isn't to impugn Kash Patel. It's not to go after President Trump. It's to go after the minds of the people who are listening to it, because then they just keep spewing it. How many times have you seen people thus far put out there that Trump's a rapist? Trump's a Speedo. Once it gets out there, then the minions just start talking about it, and none of it's true. Sometimes they get sued. I hope he does the same thing with The Atlantic. And then I saw people saying after this, Discovery's going to be awesome. What Discovery? You think you're going to dig up stuff about Kash or his girlfriend and everything you want just to do some discovery? Everything is propaganda at this point. Which tells you, as I keep saying, these people aren't winning. They're taking shots at everything. And the more they can take shots at people on the right, the less time they spend telling you what they're going to do for America. As of today, April 19th, start keeping a chart of any Democrat who's got on any stage telling you what they're going to do for America, other than giving them free stuff. That's it. I'm going to give you free stuff. I'm going to give you free food. I'm going to give you free stuff. Free apartment. No, what are you doing for the rest of us? We just need to tax you and tax. How insane was it that they launched their tax stuff the day of, or the week of tax week? It's like, you're being oblivious. I posted something today, which I found very interesting, is that there are so many blue states that decided not to be a part of the no tax on tips. And then we just saw this giant no kings thing, and you're supporting a state that is intentionally depriving you of more income. Yet you're saying you don't want kings. Well, the king is taking your money in these blue states. Make it make sense.
So you're going to sue them?
Absolutely. It's coming tomorrow.
Tomorrow you will be dropping a lawsuit against the Atlantic magazine.
Yes, I will, for defamation.
All right. So now he went on national TV this morning and said, I am dropping a lawsuit tomorrow, Monday, against the Atlantic. Dude, you better do it. If you don't do it, they're going to come at you. They're going to come for you. I'm urging you to make sure your attorneys were ready before you said that, because everybody just heard you say, yes, I will be launching a lawsuit tomorrow. Okay? Please do it. Please, for your own sake, please do it.
And because you know what, Maria? We have to fight back against the fake news. It's one of the many things that President Trump is so successful at in leading out on, because no one is attacked as baselessly as he is and as much as he is. And our leaders that get attacked under his brilliant leadership must do the same. And I won't tolerate their attacks on me, because they are indirect attacks on the men and women of the FBI that we've cleaned up. And this historic, prolific year of crime reduction across the board is something that all Americans should be. And I know they're proud of it, because I travel across the country and they say our communities are safer than ever before. Our kids aren't dying of drug overdoses. You're stopping terrorist attacks. Maria, in December, in a 4-week span, this FBI stopped 4 terrorist attacks planned over the holiday season. 4. That's more than Joe Biden did in his 4 years. So we're going to get after the fight. And if the fake news mafia wants to, ring their drumbeat as loud as they can, they're never going to stop me from completing the mission that President Trump asked me to do, which is safeguarding America. And we're doing it better than ever before.
Well, let me ask you about the mission, because every time I see President Trump, he says this repeatedly, that the election was rigged in 2020. I mean, he says it all the time. We all know that. And it's almost getting lost because he says it so much. You've been at the FBI now 14 months. Have you done anything about that? And do you have anything to tell us about that?
Absolutely, Maria. Look, I've been with the president nearly since day one on this. As I told you earlier, I was the one that led the effort with folks like Trey Gowdy, Johnny Ratcliffe, and Devin Nunes to expose the corruption that tried to thwart President Trump's first presidential election run. And we saw the FISA abuses there. And I lived through it, and the media came at me then, too. That just shows you that when you're over the target, you keep pummeling the target, because the media's going to try and pummel you. We are not going to take this, and have not taken this laying down. We did already indict former Director Comey, and that's going through the judicial process. But we also, at this FBI, even though we uncovered what we uncovered back in the House Intel days, I had to come in here and find rooms that they hid from the world. I had to come in here and find access on our computer systems in restricted and prohibited case files that they purposely put in places for no one to see and find. We have found all this information. We are working with our Department of Justice partners, and I am never going to let this go, because they not only have personally attacked the presidency of the United States and President Trump, but they tried to thwart our elections and rig the entire system. And that is not something that is going to stop on. That is not something I'm going to allow on my watch. But you just have to remember, they built this disease temple over 20 and 30 years. We've got all the evidence. I can announce on your show that we've got all the information we need. We're working with our prosecutors at the Department of Justice and their Attorney General Todd Blanche, and we are going to be making arrests. And it's coming, and I promise you, it's coming soon.
Well, all right. So there's a lot to unpack there. A tremendous amount to unpack. So we're in the middle of a war of some sort. And as we're in the middle of this war, there are people doing things behind the scene that we don't see. And everybody knows what happened with Dan Bongino. Everybody that wasn't happy with Pam Bondi. And there are so many people, I see it all the time, even on stuff I post, where they're like, I'll believe it when I see it. You may have actually said that yourself. You may have said it tonight. I'll believe it when I see it. Which is, maybe that is something people need. They've waited so long to see something happen. Is it just more hyperbole? Is it just more hype? Are you actually going to see somebody get arrested? And what I want to say to you in this regard is, with everything you've been seeing with the lower courts and how they've overturned so many different things, and then it has to go to an appellate court or the Supreme Court to make it stick and actually make them go away. I'm not sure if you know this, but they tried to stop President Trump once again and to stop the ballroom. The lower court judge says, nope, you can't do anything. They had to take it to the appellate court. It got overturned. He's good to go. James Comey, Letitia James, they got indicted. Court says, nope, you can't do it. So let me ask you a question. I really want your sincere answer. Many of you who have said, I haven't seen anything happen. I don't believe it. I won't believe it until I see it. When you see what these lower court judges have done, do you think there might have been a plan in place to smoke out the bad judges? Because if you couldn't get James Comey's indictment to stick, if you couldn't get Letitia James, who there's actual documents showing mortgage fraud, if you couldn't get that to stick when there's an actual document, do you think those things were put out there to see where is the judge? Who else is involved in this? When you say, I'll believe it when I see it, maybe what you were seeing that you didn't believe is you were looking for an arrest and conviction, and you probably weren't seeing the bigger picture. That bigger picture being they knew they had to go through so many different hoops, jump over fences, because there were so many judges in place that were going to destroy anything they brought forward. I'm just making a hypothesis here. My hypothesis being, if I wasted indictments on this person, that person, and the other person, and I brought this indictment to the wrong court, it's going to obviously get thrown out, delayed, or whatever. So maybe they needed to find out where can we go to make so we can get an actual unbiased court who's going to look at the evidence. Maybe it was part of the plan that everyone says, trust the plan. It's like, let's do this now so that we're positioned in time to affect the midterms. It's April right now, April of 2026. What good would it have been to launch all these different things, try to indict all these people last year? What if we're waiting, I don't know, maybe this week, as he said, next week, next month, where it gets to the point where some of these people who might get indicted don't have the ability to slither away, that they're stuck. And now it becomes a great amount of stuff to talk about moving into the midterms. Just maybe. I mean, President Trump on his own, I think I can play this without getting myself in any trouble. He posted something. I have posted it a few times myself. And he posted something using Christopher Walken's The Lion. I don't know if you've ever heard Christopher Walken talk about The Lion. And so I want to see if I can download this and play this for you, and so you guys can actually hear it. He posted this, and yes, I can. All right, so I don't think it's copyrighted. And 1 second, let me pull this up. If you haven't heard this, I want you to understand this was posted last night. So what was he saying with this? Watch the visual and listen to the words, because it's pretty impressive.
Jackals, hyenas, they're barking at him, laughing at him. They nip his toes and eat the food that's in his domain. They do this, and they get closer and closer and bolder, till one day, that lion gets up and tears the shit out of everybody, runs like the wind, eats everything in his path. Because every once in a while, the lion has to show the jackals who he is.
The faces that were in that video and how he went through them all with Pence at the end. just staring, just staring Pence down. This is so eerie.
The jackals.
Look at that. He's staring at Pence. That's the last clip of that video. That's the last thing that you show about ripping them a new one. What was he saying? Is it now time? And then I saw this with Kash Patel, and what I'm going to show with Harmeet, I don't know. But there was a flurry of videos that got posted last night.
Well, Kash, hold on, because when you started this interview, you said, Maria, you and I have been working together for a long time, and this is exactly what you were referring to. You were on my show repeatedly talking about the Russia collusion story, and our audience wants to know why there's never any accountability. But specifically, the question that I asked you was about election integrity and whether or not you had any information to verify what President Trump says all the time, which is the election was rigged. That's what I asked you, Kash.
I'm sorry, Maria, I misheard. Yes, so what we are doing is folding that into our entire conspiracy case, and we will let the prosecution speak for him. But we have the information that backs President Trump's claim. But because it's an ongoing prosecution and investigation, I can't get ahead of the DOJ and the president. But President Trump speaks truthfully when he says that, and that's what I've been telling you about. When we find terabytes of data on computers from the last 10 years that we were supposed to find 10 years ago, that's what it took. It took his re-election. It took this FBI to go in there and find it. And it takes a long time to get through that material. But I would say stay tuned this week. You might see a thing or two.
I hope so. I really hope so, that something is coming this week or whatever. First, you got to have that lawsuit drop tomorrow. Second, it's obvious they've been working on something that's been taking a long time. So I just wanted to highlight a couple of things that he said. And I don't want to get bogged down on it, but it's absolutely true. They've been doing this. They set up this cheat system for decades. They've been doing it for a long time. So in order to unravel all of that, it would have obviously taken a tremendous amount of time to start digging and knowing where to go once you find some of this stuff. They weren't going to make it easy once they left office. They were going to try and obfuscate and hide things, which is why I think so many people have been saying Pam Body's not doing anything, Kash Patel's not doing anything, because they're trying to get them off their game. That's just what I'm thinking. So now I want you to listen to what Harmeet Dillon had to say.
Welcome back. The Director of National Intelligence, Tulsi Gabbard, has sent criminal referrals to the Justice Department for former Intelligence Community Inspector General Michael Atkinson and the whistleblower who helped initiate the first impeachment of President Trump back in 2019 over the president's phone call with Ukrainian President Zelensky. Joining me now in this Sunday Morning Futures exclusive is the U.S. Assistant Attorney General for Civil Rights, Harmeet Dillon. And Harmeet, it's wonderful to have you this morning. We appreciate your time. I want to get your take on who really was behind that impeachment process for President Trump. But even more important, give us your sense of what you just heard me talk with Kash Patel about, and that is the failure of any accountability. Our audience knows exactly what happened with the Russia collusion story. No one has been held accountable. Why not?
Well, Maria, thanks for having me this morning. And I heard Kash's remarks. I agree with them. And, you know, your folks need to understand that when we start these investigations, it takes time. We have to interview a lot of witnesses. We don't want to do what the other side did, which is just jump to conclusions. And so we're building strong cases. And I think your viewers are probably familiar with the fact that some of the judges out there, particularly judges appointed more recently, have been, doing their own form of lawfare by simply denying the Trump administration valid cases in court on numerous different.
That's what I said. And when you step back and think to yourself at what you've seen happen over the last almost 2 years, you know she's not telling you anything. She's just reminding you. You watch judge after judge after judge get involved in trying to stop anything Trump has been doing. And so now she confirms it. Maybe a wink, wink. But she's confirming that we needed to find out who the scumbag judges were. That was my supposition on this. After I heard her, I'm like, Maybe we need to give this even more time. Maybe we all want stuff, but there was nothing that was going to happen until they could expose so much of the corrupt judges.
Cases. And so we've experienced that at the Department of Justice. And so we're trying different tacks. We're putting teams together. I'm personally involved in some of the issues that we've talked about. Like cash, I can't talk about things prematurely before they come to a grand jury or before we're able to announce them. But I can assure you that the whole Department of Justice is very committed to this. And Acting Attorney General Todd Blanche is continuing the work started under the Attorney General Pam Bondi. And we will have news in the very near future on these issues. And there's so many issues, Maria, like you just mentioned, the Atkinson situation. I mean, we just saw the news come out in the last couple of days about the CIA's weaponization of the government and intelligence officials to concoct a fake narrative regarding the Hunter Biden laptop and sign.
So we're going all the way back to Hunter Biden's laptop. And there's an interesting comment here, and I want to show it because this person may be trolling, or they might be how they feel. And it said, it doesn't matter. A lot of these things will never be resolved, unfortunately. What if I told you I agree with you? What if we are looking at stuff that won't be resolved? It's not designed to be resolved. Barry, what are you talking about? Well, we know there's so many of these judges. We know that they would just keep appealing and doing everything we can't possibly get every single person convicted. We can't possibly bring all these people who were involved for the last 20 or 30 years. We can't possibly do that. So what if that's not the goal? And some of you are sitting here going, what in the hell is Barry talking about? What if the actual crimes, the adjudication of those crimes is not the goal? And I know some of you got, Barry, what in the hell are you talking about? What if the reason for all of these investigations that they're doing behind the scenes, understanding what they're up against? They are basically a college team out there playing the Kansas City Chiefs. It's going to be extremely hard to get convictions. But what if you got all the information on how they cheated? That's a whole different thing. Now, if I have all the information on how they've cheated for years, where they were moving money around, how people were getting paid, if we have the ability to crack the code on what they've been doing, then we can stop what they've been doing. And you don't need a judge to go ahead and address that in terms of handcuffs. I know so many people want to see people go to jail, but would you be more satisfied if we destroyed their infrastructure on how they cheat, how they steal? See, that is something you probably hadn't thought about. Wait a minute. Yeah, this guy did something 2 or 3 years ago. He's a scumbag. But what's more important to you? Is it more important to put scumbag A in jail, or scumbag B, or A through Z? Is it more important to put them in jail, or to completely destroy the Democrat Party and their apparatus so they could never regain power again? And if you're honest with that, and you think to yourself, yeah, I can arrest this person. We knew what he did. We know that they did. Okay, but then what happens? Well, he lawyers up, and you're going to have 2 or 3 years of a court case. Doesn't stop what's going to be happening in November. But instead, here's what I'd like you guys to do. Harmeet, Cash, I'd like you to dig in and figure out how we need to dismantle everything the Democrats have been doing. Let's not focus on getting these people in jail. Let's focus on making sure they could never do it again. Now, I hope some of you are sitting back without the anger and saying to yourself, whoa, I didn't think about that. I didn't think about they were using the Smartmatic machines, and they were doing this with the computer systems, and they were moving money across the world in different. Scott Bessent is a genius. Scott Bessent can find all the money transfers that were going all around. Yeah, if I arrest you for money laundering, that's okay, I get to put you in jail. If I put all these people in jail, this is what you need to think. If we put every single one of these people that we think was involved in this, John Brennan and all of them, what happens in November? Nothing's changed. The face has changed. The network is still there. Think about that for a second. I can arrest every scumbag, Hillary Clinton, all Obama. I can arrest them all. But I haven't broken what these people have been doing. I haven't broken the money that's been going out to the local elections. I haven't broken Soros and how he's been buying up these, these prosecutors. I haven't been able to do that, which means, all right, well, you got to go to jail, but we'll get some other people in because come November, we're just going to do what we normally do. So if you had the opportunity, I'm asking you specifically, right now, I want you to just think to yourself, if you had the opportunity, you're Trump, and somebody comes to you and says, boss, we can arrest all these people, but it doesn't change anything in November. They have built a network, they have built a system and infrastructure that we can't take down if we go after these guys. So what are you saying? I'm saying, let them sweat, let them think we're coming after them. Let's focus on destroying their infrastructure. Let's make sure we know where and how they were moving money. Let's make sure we find out what judges they go to get what they need to. Then we start looking at those judges to see where they were moving money around. Let's find out if they're paying the media. Let's find out who is working in these precincts. Well, that's going to take a lot of time. Yeah, but we can tell everybody that we're investigating, the rigged election, which is a huge umbrella. You think they're investigating Obama and Biden and Kamala, and they're investigating the bricklayers, the people who constructed this. See, if I want to take you down, I don't want to punch you in the face. I want to make sure you can't get up after I punch you. That's a huge difference. And so everybody, every single one of you guys know, they're going to cheat in November. You know for a fact. You don't have any doubt in that. So the doubt you must have, I'm going to ask you, is if they arrest Hillary and Obama and Brennan and yada, 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 does that stop them from cheating in November? Serious question. If every single person, every dirtbag that you talk about, you hope they get arrested, which still doesn't mean they're going to jail. Does it stop them from running their scam in November? No, it doesn't. So, what if we spent our time in the shadows where they're not looking and we take down what makes them so formidable in November? The pollers. We know how they're doing that, how they're paying that. But more importantly, how are they getting illegals to vote? How are they getting people to do the mail-in ballots? The stuff that actually can change this country forever. I hope that's what they're doing. I don't need to have somebody go to jail to satisfy me. I know you're a scumbag. In fact, they know they're scumbags. But if you can't do it ever again, that sounds much more interesting. Let me know what you think.
On and lie to the American people. And they did that, many of them, on the government dime. And so there are some serious violations that may come out of that as well.
But do you feel that there, is pressure to get all of this done, for example, before the midterm elections? I mean, if the Republicans lose seats in the House, will these investigations get derailed?
I don't think so, Maria. So first of all, I mean, the election is important, of course, to all Americans, but we're going to continue our work regardless. I mean, the president has a 4-year mandate. The elections are not going to affect the dedication of the lawyers at the Department of Justice to see this through. We have a duty to do that. And frankly, if we don't do it, the American people are going to lose confidence in our elections. And that's very important to me as a civil rights lawyer who's in charge of the Voting Rights Act and all the voting issues in our country. If we don't have free and fair elections, including elections that are free from this kind of manipulation, weaponization, lying, cheating, and stealing that we have seen evidence of, I think it's very bad for our country. And I personally am here to make sure that we don't have that outcome. And
there you go. There you go. It just came out of her mouth. My priority isn't going to be to put Joe and Fred and Hillary in jail. My priority is to make sure we have free and fair elections. And then, if they're free and fair, let the chips fall but where they need to. So she just told you what the objective was. You have to now understand what's more important. I'm looking in the chat, and some of you guys are probably thinking, no, we need to have people arrested. That's your satisfaction. That is just to make you feel good, some comeuppance. I personally want to make sure these people never get in power again. The people you're talking about arresting are not the leaders. I saw somebody say that. Well, we need to get the leaders. They're not the leaders. There are people behind the scenes pulling all kinds of strings. Obama's not the leader. Hillary's not the leader. There are remember what President Trump, I'm going to bring you back to pre-election. What did he say? I'm going to obliterate the deep state. Obliterate the deep state. Obliterating the deep state isn't putting Obama in jail. He go to jail, I don't care, but it doesn't stop the deep state. In order to obliterate the deep state, what do you have to do? You have to make sure they are not viable. And that means their machine that they put in place to put people and get them elected. Not the players. I don't care about the players. We'll deal with them. I still got 3 years. What they did is still going to possibly get them in jail. What's more important? I need to make sure the elections are secure. How do I secure the election? Obliterate the deep state.
All our colleagues who are political appointees at the DOJ at the high level are committed to it as well. Now, there are many cases where we've had lawyers burrowed in at the DOJ and in other agencies as well who are not with the team and, in fact, who participated in some of the bad acts in prior administrations. So,
all right. So what did she just describe there? You're hearing it, but she's like, we have had to find some lawyers that actually work in the DOJ who are, quote, burrowed in. They're deep. When I hear burrowed, I'm thinking deep. What are the deep people? It's the deep state. She just said we've had to uncover and find these deep, hidden. We didn't know that they were part of the organization. Now we do. Not my words. She said they were burrowed. How the hell can you be burrowed? You're walking by this person in the hallway. Hey, Sam, how you doing? Oh, good, Harmeet, how you doing? He doesn't look burrowed. So what were you looking at in terms to find out what kind of hole is he in? How did he burrow himself in? What did you find out about where he was burrowed? What was he doing while he was burrowed? See, those are the questions I want to know. How did you smoke him out of his hole? These deep burrowed people, lifers in the Department of Justice.
Part of what we've been doing this past year is house cleaning, and we've been doing that in a number of different ways. And I'm happy to share with you some of the things we found in house cleaning. At the DOJ, people have been burrowed in there for decades.
And she said it again. As I was listening to that, I don't know, I'm not the most loquacious person. I may be verbose, but she said burrowed a couple times. What the hell does that mean? You're an adult. How does an employee that you walk past in the hall burrow himself in for decades? Oh, that's deep state. She just used a different word for you. And some of you guys are missing it. She has found the rat hole. It has taken him, per her words, has taken us a long time to find these burrowed people. even though they're walking past you in the hallway, even though they're parking in the same garage, you didn't know how far down the hole these people were. To me, that's effing huge. To you, you're talking about Hillary and Obama. No, I want this burrowed person, because then you have to ask yourself, why is they burrowed? Why are they deep? Why are they in the hole? Why aren't they just above board? Hey, Sam, what does Sam do here? I don't know. What's he been doing for, I don't know, he's been here for like 15 years. Anybody know what he does? Anybody got any signatures on any documents? Anybody know if he's transferred any money? What? Think about that for a second. As she has described a couple of employees or more who are just in the DOJ who've been burrowed. We don't know who's in the Treasury. We don't know who's in the Department of Education, but there are burrows. These people are deep. That's what we need to eradicate.
Doing political partisanship, and that's just not what we're supposed to be doing at the DOJ.
So what specific facts have you found? You just said there was lying and cheating. What can you tell us in terms of verifying that information? And I know you've been trying to go state by state to clean up voter rolls. What are you doing in that regard?
Yeah, so let's talk about that. We have a comprehensive effort. I've requested the voter rolls from all states in the District of Columbia. About a third of the states have voluntarily complied with us or reached settlements with us, and we've run some of those records, so I'll talk about that in a minute. I'm suing 29 states and the District of Columbia for their refusal to give us the voter rolls, to which the Attorney General or the Acting Attorney General is entitled under the Civil Rights Act of 19.
So why do you need to sue to get, as SV told you this story, they won't even give you the rolls. Why? And it's easy to come back and say you're stupid and stuff like that. This guy here, don't know who he is, but he posted this. He goes, not one person has been arrested. Barry, my friend, you are clueless. Even after Letitia James' case, you still don't understand. It's easy to say that. I'm asking you a question. If Letitia James or any of the people that you think I'm clueless about have been arrested, if every single one of them have been arrested, let's say there was Obama in chains and Hillary was locked up and Brennan was locked up, I'm having a dialogue with you. I'm not going to call you a name. I'm asking you a question. If all the people you want arrested are sitting in a cell right now, what does that do to stop the fraud at the election in November? I'll wait. You see, I'm trying to talk to people. And I don't know if SV has found out this young gentleman is a troll or not, but more than likely he's not going to be able to answer the question because he can't. Emotion has taken over so many people on the left and so many people on the right. I don't want to hear it. Well, using her words that she's finding people who are burrowed. If you're an intelligent person, if you have the ability to reason, I'm asking you a direct question. I'm not calling you any names. If every single person that you think should be arrested was behind bars right now, every single one of them, does it stop them from cheating in November? Very simple question. That's all you'd have to do. You don't have to get mad. You don't have to call me stupid. I won't call you stupid. Just answer the question. Because a reasonable person would look and go, no, it doesn't stop anything. It doesn't stop the money flow. Doesn't stop whatever they're doing computer-wise. Doesn't stop anything with mail-in ballots. Doesn't stop anything. Every single person could be sitting in the Chateau d'If right now and eating gruel, and it wouldn't stop the Democrat machine. What's more important? And I know it's hard for people. I understand it's hard for this guy to, because they put so much into arrest. And I'm remembering what President Trump said. I'm not clueless. I know what he said. I want to obliterate the deep state. You cannot obliterate the deep state if you don't try to obliterate the deep state. So every single one of those people that you want the satisfaction, it makes your bone hard because you know they're in jail. because that titillates you. And I'm asking you as a man, does that stop anything what these people have done across the country in November? I'll wait.
60. We're doing that to make sure that states are in compliance. And guess what? States are not in compliance, even those ones who want to. So for the ones that we've run so far, 60 million records that we've run, we found at least 350,000 dead people currently on the voter rolls in those jurisdictions.
All right. All right. If you arrest Obama, Brennan, Hillary, and go down the list, can you get these 500,000 people off the voting rolls? Does that do anything to stop all these dead people or people who vote twice? No. So I much rather have you take down the organization, obliterate the deep state, because I know you're also understaffed trying to go after and arrest these individuals. There were some people in the chat say, why can't you do both? You still can. That's the part. It's not one or the other. It's the priority. I want to obliterate the deep state. I'm going to put these people on ice. I can still come back for them. I just want to make sure November is secure. Once I know November is secure, then I still can go arrest these people. Nobody said either or. We're talking priority.
And we've referred approximately 25,000 people with no citizenship records to the to Homeland Security to look at, dig into that further and see the extent to which people voted. I'm in touch with voting rights.
Okay, I'm going to say this like you're 5. I don't want to insult anybody. But when I see these kind of quotes, or what changes without arrest? Okay, let me just break it down to the most simple perspective. What changes is you break the infrastructure. You break the deep state. You break it so that the elections are free and clear. I'm not understanding why that's so hard to understand. And I don't know if people have gone through 10 years and all these different times wondering, is this person, here, this time, here it comes. No, it's not going to come that way, I don't think. Because what changes without arrest? We break their infrastructure. Think of all the different things that Democrats have done for decades, and you're taking all of these things away from them. Mail-in ballots, dead people, money laundering. I can still go arrest them, but if I break their entire ability to be a substantive party, a valid or viable adversary, I destroy them. And obviously at this point, people are not getting this. Not SP, help me, man. What is so hard? I don't understand.
You can't fix stupid.
And I don't know if it's stupid or just a misguided. If you broke my mic, if you turn off the lights, you broke my camera, I can't broadcast. You can still come and get me and drag me out of the house whenever you want, but I can't turn anything on. And that's what I'm trying to tell people. I'm like, I feel like I'm wasting my breath because but nobody got arrested.
We have more than half our country. I think I've given you this number before. 65% of the country is, they're missing out on things, and there's a lot of indoctrination. And, just people who just listen to like CNN. I mean, they're just focused in on one thing and they hear it and they believe it. You see it all the time. I watch the videos on X, all the left crap that's going on. It's insane. I mean, I think people have forgotten how to do research. I mean, that story that I posted earlier, I'm letting it go because I'm looking all over. I don't see anything out there. I mean, it's really quiet right now. I'm sure things are cooking, but I'm going to let it go. I'm not going to post anything else. I mean, Mario's putting other stuff out. I'm just ignoring it.
That's how they can win. when they're playing for your mind the way it is, and we see people who are supposedly in here who are Trump supporters or possibly MAGA, and they still don't see the possibility of obliterating the deep state as being a priority over throwing people in jail right now. I don't know. And again, I could be completely wrong, but I know what I would want. I would want to know that my adversary has been completely weakened and they can't do what they've done for 20 or 30 years. Because at the same time, they just plug and play. It's just somebody else. If it's not Obama, if it's not Brennan, there's somebody else that's going to come on. It's not like, oh, well, Obama's not there anymore.
Yeah.
What do we do? They're going to put somebody else in there. And if you don't, plug up all those burrowed people, you're in trouble.
Well, as I've been saying, and you've heard me say it several times, the media is an existential threat. I mean, it's not only to our country, it's the whole world. I mean, it's amazing how stuff just gets, I mean, it's great that X puts out news stories quickly. But sometimes, as you can see on X, some of it's people just immediately knee jerk to stuff that's not true. So I tend to take a little time to investigate, you know. I don't want to put something out that's not true, because I like to verify first.
There's a few podcasters who are making a living off of effing
we know
with
who they
people's
are.
heads. Yeah, they are.
Yeah.
All right, let's finish up with Harmeet.
Activists who are showing me information about people who have voted who are not American citizens. And so the left told us this never happens and it's a myth. It definitely happened. Just recently, someone was indicted in Minnesota, of all places, for voting without being a citizen. And so I've sent a document request to them on that. Minnesota has a weird vouching law that allows citizens to vouch for each other's citizenship. That's crazy and inconsistent with the Help America Vote Act. And we're not going to rest until we complete this project. Now, Maria, your audience would like to know perhaps that 5 states have actually had judges, federal judges, rule against us in this very simple request to get the voter rolls. It's such a basic voting hygiene concept in the Ninth Circuit, in the Sixth Circuit in Michigan, and just recently Rhode Island last week. And so we're expediting the appeals in these cases. There'll be an appeal in the Ninth Circuit and the Sixth Circuit soon.
Yeah. Harmeet, you are doing incredibly important work. I want to please invite you back to continue sharing with us your work as it becomes available. We so appreciate your time. Thank you.
So what you just heard her describe is the destruction of infrastructure. They're fighting back. They don't want to give up the rolls. They don't want you to know how many dead people. They don't want you to know how many illegals. They don't want you to expose how they have put together their network. She's digging, she's suing, she's trying to get the information from these states, and they're fighting tooth or nail. They don't even want to give up how many dead people you got. You haven't cleaned up your rolls. Cleaning up the roll is infrastructure. And they've built this thing to the point now where they know it. They've got it down pat. Even where SV lives, Spansburger, whatever her name is, she's trying to destroy and make it so that Virginia's vote simply goes to the popular vote, not to a candidate. That it's crazy. That's when I start digging in and looking at all this stuff. I'm like, I don't think people are looking at the right thing. I don't think people understand. And again, I could be wrong, but I don't think people understand what we have at stake here. What I mean by that is we're not going to get another chance. And so to me, I don't care if certain person gets arrested, because that case will go on for years. Years. But if we can strike down this infrastructure, and we can take all the mail-in ballots, and we can take all the cheating and the computerization and everything else, now things are going to turn bigger. I don't give a crap about these small fish. I want to take down their network. I want to destroy everything that they put together to cheat. So that's where I am. All right, so I'm looking here. Yeah, exactly. Somebody said, Jeanette says, the more they fight to cover up their wrongdoings, the more they get exposed. If somebody talked to them, news talked about it, they won't even talk about it. How many of you knew before tonight that all these states were fighting her? That's not something people talk about. Let's see what else here. More monies for lawyers, just clean house. Yeah, I'd be all about that. They know they are. This is a good one. They know that they are screwed. They're going to go hard to stop it. Yeah, they're not going to go easy. Just make sure you understand these people are not going to go down easy. And so I would think even that they would basically give up some of these people and let them fall on the sword. Because it doesn't matter what they're setting up or what they've had set up for decades. All right, so, well, we've been here long on a Sunday night. Let me do super chats. I don't know if the screen, because I was having issues with the screen, if I'm going to be able to put them up on the screen. Let me see if I can do that. I obviously will. If not, I'll probably just have to read them because my button, computer, and camera weren't working correctly. Hold on. Let me see if I can pull them up somehow. Hold on. Not that button. Not that button. Hold on. Let me see if I can do something different here. Let me do this. If I do that and I do that, can I see? Hold on one second. I'm trying to make this work, and as I'm trying to make it work, I'm seeing Windows shut down on me, and I don't want to lose you guys, but let me just see something. There we go. I can do it this way. Give me a second. All right, I think I can do it. I had to restructure something so I can see. So please bear with me because of what I had to do. All right, so Ed Sloan, Iran is about to become a mega golf course. I hope so. Probably by the time we wake up, we'll hear something. Fikowski, YouTube is restricting my words. Yes, they will do that. Oftentimes, if you use a certain word that they don't like, they'll go ahead and basically not let it post. Yes, no more Mr. Nice Guy indeed. That's what President Trump said. And I played an Alice Cooper song on X today, so we had that. David, $1 million idea. Bacon scented pepper spray. That would be indeed awesome. Catalina, check Glenn Beck, Red and Green Alliance. Okay, I'll take a look at that. David, time to stock up on pew-pews and freedom seeds. Love your terminology there. Thank you. Lisa, if you don't mention it, U.S. gave Tauski 6 hours to comply. And they didn't, so they got lit up. Lisa, I have supported almost everything you advertise without issue. Unfortunately, that wreath is a ripoff. It is grossly misrepresented. What you receive is nothing like is depicted in the photos. Lisa, I gotta tell you, I'm not sure where you ordered it or from who, because that was the first time I ever promoted it. I have not done a single ad for that product until tonight. So if you bought it someplace else, I can't speak for it. If there's a problem with the company, let me know. I will talk to them. But you didn't buy it from here because that's the first ad I've ever run for the wreath. And if it's not quality, let me know. And well, you did. I will find out. Diane, it's my birthday, and what a wonderful day to be alive. Happy birthday, Diana. Buddy, Tuska is Iranian flag. Fox News cannot be trusted. Catalina, what do you think are going to do to us people? Oh, given the opportunity, we're screwed. Absolutely. Buddy, again, I experienced people spit on my uniform at Hartsfield Jet. Wow. Your military uniform? I'd have had to bring them out back and give them an ass whooping. Oh, my goodness. He came for me. He comes to you. I got so angry that all the mess I was hearing, I was throwing stuff at my television, and I had to back off. Mr. President, I'm behind you. Stick to your plan. Don't trust Iran. Yes, indeed. And God protect our people. Tania, Bear, I used to listen to Rush in 2004 when I lived in Southern California. Unfortunately, I was in my 20s and didn't realize what a gem he was. Miss him. Phenomenal. Absolutely phenomenal. John Billy, Barry and Rush Fright, don't get fooled. Thank you. Chiosop, Code Pink and LGBT should organize a trip to Iran. I would buy some tickets for them. If they would like to go to Iran, I would definitely buy some tickets for them. I'd love to. We only need to do it one way, so we wouldn't spend a whole lot of money because they would definitely be one-way tickets. Yeah, for sure. James, no, not a repeat. It continues. Yeah. Talking about Rush. Donnie, as said in Isaiah, their hearts become so hardened that they lose the ability to distinguish truth from lies. Yeah. Bill's fan, the Mega Offers is being blocked by my antivirus as a ripoff type site. Please educate us. I will go ahead and contact them and let them know that we had 2 issues with their site. Thank you. Pekovsky, losing my patience daily. I understand. Ernest, thank you. Diana, our youngest daughter passed in 2018 when she's 26, but yet she voted in 2020. That's the infrastructure. Sorry to hear that. Ernest again, thank you. Chiosop, everything has its timing. You need to trust the plan. Yes. He came for me. Have this country forgot about 9/11 and the people in D.C. and Pennsylvania? Have they actually forgotten Twin Towers, Bin Laden? These people have USA. They hate USA, all of them. People died because of hate. I'm not forgetting. I keep telling people you should get that feeling of 9/12 back. See, 9/11, we got hit, and a lot of people, were hurt. 9/12, people were pissed. Bill's fan, Pekovsky is correct. Invented codes required. Yes, to be able to talk freely. Chiosop, the little ones move around to lead to the source. Bill's fan, our actual words are refused. Fix the chat, YouTube. Yeah, they'll do that. I can't do anything about that. Neo, thank you, Barry. So true. No stopping it one by one. Tower of deep state must tumble. Gone forever. God bless President Trump. He has the hand God has given him. Agreed. And the last one is arrest without obliterating the deep state will just make them angry to cheat harder to win so they can just let them out and then come after us. Yeah, because that would definitely happen. They would let them out, absolve them of everything, and then they would be vengeance towards us. Tomorrow, before I go, let me check Trump if they posted tomorrow's schedule, which will probably be not posted yet because there's so much going on. Let me just check real here before I go to the after party. What is this? Hold on. Waiting. Nope, they have not posted Monday yet. So we'll have to see what they do tomorrow. All right, everybody. Thank you very much.